Welcome, everyone, to another episode of The Testing Room, where three of the gaming industry's best video game consultants who have never actually consulted on a video game bring you new topics each and every week. I'm Alex, aka the Gozfather.
I'm Christian, aka Pseudo45.
And I'm Preston, aka Funkadelic Jedi.
How are you going to look like you do right now and not come out the gate with a Macho Man Randy Savage?
I thought about that. As soon as I took this off, I completely thought about that.
Dude, I was like, where's the come on, brother? Like, where's all of it? Like, what,
got
dude?
the glasses and the beard, the hair.
You teased everybody so much. Yeah.
I didn't think about Randy when I put that on. But now I do. As soon as I took it off and I saw my yellow shirt, I'm like, I fucked it up.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you absolutely did.
Well, edit it in post.
Yeah, I got this from I was at the grocery shopping and I was doing all the healthy shopping. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get one little thing for me. I'm gonna get a little frozen pizza. I'm like, let's see what they got. It's something different, something weird. And they have Surfer Boy pizza, frozen from Stranger Things. I'm looking at it. I'm like, this is like Surfer Boy pizza. I'm like, I've heard of this before, but it looks cool. I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I look at it closer and it's like Stranger Things special edition pizza. I'm like, whatever. It's like on sale for half off because no one's fucking buying it. So I'm like, I'll pick one of them up. Sure, it says hand toss. Like, whatever. It's a fucking frozen pizza. Frozen pizza's a frozen pizza. Nothing fucking fantastic about it. And I saw
into this freezer.
It looks like some basic ass fucking frozen pizza. Yeah, like on the back of the cardboard box, you can pop out the fucking sunglasses. I'm like, I know what I'm doing for the intro of the podcast.
Was it bad?
Question.
I haven't had it yet. I took that off beforehand.
He said it was good.
So you took it out of the box, but then...
No, it's still in the box. This is the little thing you can pop out of the box. So it just has a little glasses hole in the box.
Okay.
So you said you were shopping and you said, I'm going to buy a little something for me.
Well, I mean, it's more of like a
shopping for you?
A pizza. All of it's for me, but
okay.
Especially the healthy stuff. The healthy stuff is especially for me.
He said, "Daddy needs a treat," and he found himself in the frozen pizza aisle.
I tell you what, one of my favorite memories. And I can say this because if Allie ever catches up on this podcast, it'll be years down the road. It won't matter. But one of my favorite memories living in St. Louis was when Allie went out of town. I think she actually went out of town for a funeral, so it's probably not that great of a memory for her. But we were home, and Christian came over, and we destroyed some Tombstone pizza and played video games. And
oh yeah,
sometimes
oh my
you just
god,
got to.
That was a long time. Yeah, that was a good day though. We were just chilling.
Probably 11 years ago, 10, 11 years ago. It was a long time.
And both of our wives always make fun of us because anytime we hang out, we'll just be kicking it and not doing anything, playing games. And they're like, don't you guys get bored? And we're like, no, we're having a great time right now.
No. Yeah, we're playing games.
It's like, but you're just watching. Yeah, but we're playing. I mean, you can play by watching. You can
just hanging out.
Yeah.
We're just relaxing.
It's like watching sports. Me.
So, Preston, what do we got for Preston's comment corner?
So we don't have anything from anyone else. We do have stuff from me, at least. I'm sure Kirsten would like to chime in on this. Thank you, Alex, for all the nice gifts from Japan. We appreciate it a whole lot. We got a bunch of stickers, coasters, a bunch of Final Fantasy stuff. It's fun. Just because I'm uncultured swine, I'm going to guess at what this is. Is this it's a Star Wars cloth poster?
Why don't you just open it, you weirdo?
Well, I can see on the back of it. I feel bad for opening any of these things.
I had no idea.
Why would you feel bad for
it's because Japanese
literally
nice
meant to be open.
I know, but still. I assumed it was like a cloth poster. I can't read any of the fucking things, so it's all I see is Star Wars.
I can't read it, so what the hell will you use it for me?
I got Duolingo for Spanish, not Japanese, okay?
Oh no.
Yeah, it's a cloth thing. Is that supposed to be a poster? Yeah. A scroll thing?
Thing is, is that Star Wars is still in English, so you can still read that part.
Yeah, so is May the Force be with you, but yeah. There we go. I figured it out.
Yeah. So it's one of the one of those. It's one of the posters.
That's sick.
We can get if you need, because you're supposed to, have like the band.
Okay, guys, say Yoda as a samurai is badass.
I mean, it's just a promotional thing, but yeah, they picked out. But yeah, it's just like a picture of him just in black and white. But yeah, it's great. It's awesome. It's cool. And then I do love the Beastar sticker. I like this a lot. He's a really cool character too. he gets
I know,
guys
I said
in
you
the
guys
red light
can split the-
district.
I said you guys can split the stickers, but there are definitely like some stickers that are.
No, I asked Christian.
specific.
Like, Christian, are you sure you don't want this B-Star sticker? He's like, yeah, I'm good. I'm
No,
like, are you
no, this is
sure?
what happened. He said this. No, don't let him downplay this because Sassy Preston came out because I literally just said we're sitting there and I said, okay, I stacked all the stickers and I said, all right, we'll just do each. We'll just pick one each and then we'll go until there's no more left. And so he goes and his second pick was the B Stars one. Like, okay, that's the one you're going with, and he goes, well, do you want the B Star sticker? And I was like, no, dude. I was just saying that's the one you're going with. I was like, fuck me, man.
See, you blew it too early. What you should have done is gotten
Left it
other
for
ones
last.
that you wanted,
Yeah.
but knowing that he wasn't going to pick the B
It's
Star.
fine.
You would have always had that one there.
He can have all the
in the
Pokemans.
pocket.
I got my
I got some
starter.
too.
I got my
I'll grab
starter.
the ones
I got
that
my
I
starter.
have.
That's all that matters, right?
Yeah,
Little
I
squirrel.
got Pokemon
But these
ones.
stickers are so nice and fancy. They got little slip covers and shit. Like, I feel bad about putting this on something. Like, I gotta wait till I get a Game Boy to put this shit on it. Like, I gotta wait till I get my Game Boy SP and then I'll put it on fucking Game Boy SP. But until then, it doesn't go on anything that I think I might throw away. It's not going on a fucking notebook. I'll tell you that right now.
All my
Yeah.
stickers that I have go onto my PS3.
Oh, there you go.
Oh.
Nice. That's a good one.
just,
Yeah.
they just stay on there.
That's my problem because I got some stickers too. It's like I don't want to put them on my iPad or something that I might have to like, get rid of eventually. But the Pokemon. So Pikachu does not exist in sticker form. I would assume
You gave
because
one to
everyone in
Christian.
Japan.
Christian has one.
Oh, did I give you Pikachu?
Yeah.
Wait, which
Was
one
it
did
Pseudo
I?
Wudo?
Oh, no. Well, I could not find a Pseudo Wudo. No, what it was. So I got like Charizard.
Yeah.
And Bulbasaur. Like
Oh, you
I
got
got
the
the evolved
Venusaur.
yes. Yeah. Or sorry, Venusaur. But
Get
there
it
were a
right,
couple
nerd.
that I know. There were a couple I could not
Crack the
find
cannon.
that just didn't make any sense. That you think they would have like some of the traditional ones, but they had like a shit ton of EVs, and we went
Eevee's
to
mad popular in Japan.
yeah, and I got some others. I got some like My Hero ones, right, which are pretty dope. I just got
one of those
like
too from you. Yeah.
a general like cool Japan one that's
that
super
is sweet.
dope. But we went into a couple of the B-side stores, so I don't know if you guys are familiar with B-side, but they're just these pop culture stickers.
No idea.
Yeah.
And they do like you walk in the store and they had thousands of these things.
I bet.
Like it was
Yeah.
massive. But then I walked over to the side and there were binders, like card binders, and I would open one up and like it would have Japanese writing, so clearly I could not read it, and I would open it up and it would just be like more. And a guy with broken English tried to come over and was like, "Is there something you're looking for?" And I was like, "No, not necessarily." And he's like, "Oh, well, these are everything that we have to offer, but if you still don't find what you want," he handed me the iPad and he was like, "We have even more. We just don't carry and make anymore, but you can order whatever you want." I was like, "Holy crap!" But yeah, I bought myself some stickers too. Allie bought some stickers. They were very, very cool.
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
fun.
Nice little
And they were
treat.
super nice. They
I
asked
bet.
where we were from. We were checking out, and they just started giving us free stickers. They're just like, "Here, pick from these." I'm like, "Okay."
You want one of these?
So,
It's a sticker.
Yeah, they were. Well, I
Pick
think we were either in Harajuku when we were doing that, or we might have been in Dotonbori, but I was wearing shorts, so my like Final Fantasy tattoo was out, and nobody would say anything to me.
They all knew.
Like
what was
nobody
going
would
on.
be like, one guy was like pointed and was like, "Oh," sort of thing, but nobody would like walk over and compliment me. But I would just see constantly people would be like and pointing down and talking to themselves. So it was
They
pretty
probably didn't
funny.
want to talk to you because they probably thought it would be rude if they interrupted you during your nice vacation. Because they're very nice people.
Very, very possible they would think it would be rude.
Meanwhile, in your head, you're like, please talk to me.
I
about
want
my
you to talk to me. I
tattoo,
want to feel
please."
cool.
I'm not gonna lie. I wanted it so bad.
I know you did. I know
You wore those. You wore shorts to the cafe, didn't you?
I think I did.
If you did not, you
Speaking of
rolled
the
up those pant
cafe,
legs.
I got myself some pens.
That's sick. Very
Yeah.
sick.
From the cafe.
Very nice.
And then I kept a couple of duplicate coasters. I didn't buy, like, I bought the pens,
Yeah.
Christian, for you, and I bought the ones for me. All the other stuff I sent you were free. Like, anything
given.
you got there came with coasters and cards.
Cool.
So, like, I kept a couple that I liked, and I kept a couple of duplicates that I had, but, like, however big that stack was that I gave you, they're just, like, with everything. Like, here.
So these are coasters
Yeah.
or cards, right? These
Those are
cards?
coasters, and there
Okay.
was, like,
thought they were cards.
48 of those.
Yeah.
And then there's smaller cards. I think I gave you two, maybe one or two, not as many of those. No,
I got a
Just
magnet.
coasters.
Okay.
With a bunny boy on it.
But there's a couple.
It's okay.
It's wins, right? But yeah, there's that.
Nice.
So
Yeah, they were cool. It was awesome.
Yeah. It's my kind of corner.
I was, and then of course, Christian, I sent you something else, which was a last minute, like we had been in a store, like I'd already gotten everybody's kind of souvenirs, right? Like Preston's literally came from, I was walking down the street and it was this market that was like closing, and this one woman who looked like she was 90 was selling just those like cloth bamboo type posters, and they were just random. I walked by and I caught one of those Star Wars, and I was like, oh, dope. And Allie's like, you want one? I was like, yeah, I kind of do want one. We actually bought ourselves one. It is completely different. It's got
Very
Darth and
cool.
some
That's dope.
stormtroopers.
Yeah.
But I was like, I do want one, and I was like, you know what? Like, Preston would like one of these. So
I
I
did.
got
You're
Preston
right.
souvenirs. We had been in the Final Fantasy Cafe. I got Christian a couple of the pins, and again, like we were in Downton just like one of our last days there, walking around. We walked in a random souvenir shop with cards, because what caught our attention, we were joking, was this Erling Haaland, like big English famous soccer player. He's not English. He plays in the English Premier League. But they had a jersey autographed from him from like his previous team where he was a rookie at a Fnatic store, which is like Fnatic's like a legit like autograph company. And the jersey was like $200. And I laughed and was like, we should buy that, take it home, and like resell it in the US
Because of
for
difference
like a
in price.
brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I walked in there and could not find exactly the Pokemon thing I want to get Christian. And then what do I see there? Which is like a Japanese, the only Pokemon card like in this little area
Really?
was a Japanese style Sudowoodo. I was like, well,
Have to.
clearly,
Gotta.
I gotta
that was perfect.
get that.
Nice little case and everything. It was perfect. Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good.
Case was separate. The card was not in the case, and I was
Gotcha.
like, I will never get this home if I did
Yeah,
not get
fair.
a case
Yeah,
for it.
True.
Fair.
So anyway, they had a couple of other Pokemon cards, but again, like it was a legit place. So they like the artist rendition, like foil cards, other stuff that were like thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
And no, but yeah. So
Yeah, that was awesome.
we got way off track.
That's fine.
Sorry.
Press this comment corner.
There's Comic Corner.
Preston's comment corner. I just love the idea that like you went Beastars second and then got sassy about it.
Yeah.
No, and I was just like, okay, that's when you're going. And he was like, do you want the Beastars one? I was like, all right, dude, fuck, yeah, I should
I was
know.
in a very
I just-
sassy mood.
He was.
I
was gonna get a
too,
collection of the
I,
Yeah,
but
you
I
were.
didn't aim. I didn't aim it
couldn't
at
find it.
Preston.
Yeah. I just couldn't find a collection of Beastar stuff. So yeah.
Nice.
Anyway.
He didn't even wander into the furry store in Japan.
We went into multiple just anime stores, right? And a lot of them had like B-sides, like small sections. And we went to a couple like the full B-side locations, and it was only at the big one that I found even the couple that I found, or
Yeah.
just the one. Did I just
Yeah.
find one?
One. Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It was the one. I actually think I found that in a book, like when I was flipping through of like the old stuff that they had, but just weren't out. I don't even think that was like out on the shelf somewhere.
Beastars
Very
was so
random.
yesterday. The last season already came out in Japan. I'm not cool
sure.
enough.
The only conversation we had there, so the guy that like actually walked over and like pointed to my tattoo, and then said something that I didn't understand. The only small conversation we had was us going through the book, and I asked him Persona 5. I was like, do you have Persona 5 stickers? Because I would love to, like, the artwork of that's so cool, and like
Yeah.
those stickers went in dope. And he lit up like immediately, and I was like, oh yes, and he's like, no, Persona 5 is my favorite video game ever, and I wish we did. And I was like, oh
Well,
cool.
I'm glad you
Thanks,
like
man.
it.
I appreciate it.
Glad we're not
This
Persona
conversation has
homies.
paid so many dividends for
Yeah.
me.
yeah, it was pretty funny. So anyway,
Yeah.
let's get into our weeks. Who wants to kick things off?
I
I'll
can
do
say-
it.
Yeah, go ahead.
Go
No,
ahead.
you want to go ahead?
Go ahead, man.
Sassy
Okay.
Preston's gonna get
No,
sassy
I'm not
again.
being sassy. I just said go ahead.
Um,
There's no sass involved.
That sounds kinda
Sass
funny.
police over here. Jesus
So,
Christ.
let's see. Since we recorded last, I have. I'll start with what I beat. So I beat Final Fantasy 16. I have finished Final Fantasy 16.
Is that the only game you beat? Not like that's not an accomplishment. I'm just so used to you beating multiple, so I'm just wondering, like, if the
Yeah,
only game
well,
you beat-
Congrats.
thank you. I want that every time I beat a game now.
I'm gonna try.
But no,
Can we all have our
so-
own noise? Can I have the Zelda?
Sure. Yeah, I'll pull it up for you. Yeah, I'll get it for you.
Sweet.
You gotta be game.
So
We will get kicked off of YouTube.
so fast, I know. Honestly, we'll be lucky if they don't claim that one. But
Hey, they're already muting me on fucking Twitch for fucking John Williams. That's cool.
are they really? Jesus.
Sections of it.
So anyway, it's the only thing that I've beaten. I basically just hammered through. It was about what I say. I think in text it was like 67 hours is what I ended up at.
Was that everything?
Is
Was
everything.
that
All side quests,
content?
all hunts.
Okay, that's not bad.
No.
Yeah, so that was me knocking all that stuff out.
You know what? Can I say I actually appreciate a 60-hour Final Fantasy game and not a
As far as
120-hour
all side
Final
quests
Fantasy
with
game?
that, yeah.
To be fair,
All?
there's a lot fewer 120-hour ones than there. Like, I know that 10 is the one that's most recently in your brain because you spent all that time doing it, but
15 was long as shit.
not for 100. Like, not it. We really
It wasn't
not.
100. I know it wasn't.
No, it was not 110 or even above 100 hours. I think it was probably still in the 60, 70
60s,
hour
yeah.
range if I had to guess. But
It says 116 hours, 100% completion on time to beat.
100%.
I 100%ed it. I platinum that
Oh,
game.
you did. Okay, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
yeah, well,
Yeah.
is that adding all the DLC in now?
That's more.
Oh, that's actually a good
Oh,
question.
fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good call.
Yeah.
Because it has like 5 episodes or whatever out
One for
now.
each of the boys.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, and a villain.
Sure.
But anyway, yes. So yeah, we are on the derailment cast today. I finished 16, 67 hours. Obviously, you two still have to play it, so I'm not going to get into spoilers whatsoever.
I have to finish. Preston has to play.
Yep. I'm still waiting.
General thoughts is it is immediately upon finishing. I still need to sit with it a little bit longer to figure out like where it actually falls permanently, but it is immediately top 5 Final Fantasy
Not surprised.
that I've ever played.
Not surprised.
There it is no question will it be top 5. Just where it falls on top 5 is going to be, because I'm not going to lie, there were some moments that happen, including the one that I linked to that I'll talk about here in a second, but that I linked into the chat, that made a pretty strong argument for number 2. I was like, oh boy, this is the second best Final Fantasy game I've ever played. Like I was really,
Yeah.
it was, yeah. So, man, the ending is, look, so here's the thing. Preston knows the night that I beat it, right? I was already up very late. And then I finished it around like 4:30ish in the morning.
You just didn't sleep.
So
That's not up late.
so-
You just didn't sleep. You took a nap
I went
early
to
in the
sleep-
day.
I went to sleep after that.
Yeah, that's called a nap.
No, I slept from like 4 to noon or 1 whenever I messaged
Yeah, it
you.
was
That's
1
a lot of
o'clock.
hours.
4 in the
That's not-
morning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You went to
You
bed at
finished
4
it
o'clock.
at 4 in the morning?
Yeah,
Holy crap.
4:30ish. Yeah. Now, in fairness, that was mostly because I needed to be up till like 2:30ish that night to go pick people up, so it was like a whole thing. So I was already up, and I was so close to finishing it. I just wanted to knock it out. Either way, I was primed, I would say, to be taken advantage of emotionally by this because I was so tired. However, that ending got me, man. It's a good ending. And they leave just enough open to interpretation.
You mean
that-
DLC?
No, that
62.
no, none of that. It's that there are there's 2 main theories as to what the ending, like what happened at the ending. And and both are equally as plausible by what you look like. They leave just enough that it's like it could be either one, and I don't know, but both are sad, and I'm sad. Like that's like there's no there's no miss between, but it's just like the difference between a couple things. But no, it is if they do DLC, it would be like pre stuff maybe. And I don't think that's going to be. I don't think that's in their plan or their roadmap at all. No, this is a complete game. There is no stinger at the end. There's no like, oh, what if? Like, it is very open and shut. Like, you know exactly where that world stands at the end of the game. But so to the clips that the two clips that I shared, is there are, and I don't know, Preston, if you've gotten a chance to watch them yet.
I saw the second one because it's a GIF, and that just automatically
yeah.
plays. I didn't see the first one yet. I didn't watch that yet.
So the first one is basically Clive doing that move that I shared in the GIF, essentially. And if you look at them like one after the other, it's very clear that they are like they knew. Like it is. So the GIF that I shared, Alex, is I'll tell you is it is Virgil's doing his judgment cut, like the move from Devil May Cry 5, and it is in that game, and it is like to the T the animation, like it is so close. And I think it's hilarious that there are people that are like, well, I just don't see, like it feels more like Kingdom Hearts than Devil May Cry, and then I look at this and I'm like, what are we talking about here? Like this just doesn't like, but. You know, whatever. Either way, I thought it was incredible. I not enough good things to say about that game. It really landed for me. I know that I said here's what I will say is I do have some nitpicks. And it's two things. One, this will come up in Game of the Year that I'll explain.
Like you're freezing and stuttering. Is that happening for you, Alex, or is that just me?
It's just you, I think. Everything is clear for me.
Cool. Give me a second. Then you can start your nitpicks again.
Cool.
You're not bad, but let me just make sure to turn other things off, just in case.
I was like looking around. I was like, "Is my internet?" And I was looking down. I was like, "Nah, man."
I know you said you were having issues with it the other day, but I think it's fine now. But we're good. Go ahead, continue your nitpicks.
Okay. So nitpicks is that I think there's one thing that I'll get into this more towards Game of the Year, because I'll be able to explain why I think they did this. But it's still a shame either way. Is that you are getting new abilities and new powers all the way up until just before the final boss. So the reason I think that's a bummer is that it takes you until then to get the full kit, like your full move list, essentially.
And you don't have that much time to
so like what happened is like this new thing comes, this new set of powers, like two of them basically, like bam bam right in a row, and I'm like, ooh, I can. Like my brain was already like moving. I'm like, ooh, I might be able to really move some stuff and think about something. And then as I was like, yeah, I can kind of see where this is going. But I was so used to the play style that I had created with the other like 6 powers that I had before then, that I was like, I can see kind of like what I could do here and like what I could make, but I'm so used to this other playstyle that I've already crafted for myself, like with certain accessories, buffing certain moves and certain things, that I was like, I don't really feel like switching it up right now, especially when I've got some S-rank hunts that I need to do and like the final boss and all this other stuff. Like, I don't want to be fumbling around in those moments with new moves or new powers or anything like that when I need to just stick with like old reliable. And again, I know that there's a reason that they probably did that, and I'll talk about that later, but it was a bummer. And then for people like Alex and I, these side quests and quests in general are very familiar to us because for better and for worse, this game is 14. It is like it is to a
Even
T.
I was thinking like even the introduction in the beginning where you see this mysterious character, I was like that's an Ascian.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
just the way
Yeah.
he comes with like the hood, you can only see the mouth and like she's an Ascian. And he just like something happens and he's just like vanished, right? I'm like, okay.
Imagine. Yeah. For better and for worse, it is 14. You can tell that the same design philosophies that team uses influenced this entire game, and just like in 14, when it works, boy does it work, and it has all of its same shortcomings. So there's plenty of times where you're doing a side quest that is like, go talk to this person, 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 come back around, I've collected these things, here you go, bam, we're done, and you move on to the next one, and you're like, I could have cut 2 or 3 steps out of that. I didn't need to do that. Like, but on the flip side, there's also, just like in 14, there's some side quests that have a little plus mark next to them. And boy, do you not want to miss those, because either it's going to be incredible story-related content that you're like, I cannot believe that you're putting this behind a side quest. Like, there's especially, Alex, you're far enough in, wait, where are you?
I have my full set of second powers.
Okay, so you've met Torgal. Like, you have Torgal, like adult Torgal. Right.
Yep.
There's a side quest way later in the game that you do that is solely based around him, and it has like a little plus. So you like you and I know, I gotta go do that. But some people might be like, fuck this, I don't care, like, I'm done with side quests, I'm done with the end, blah, blah, blah. That would be a mistake, because that plus sign means something to us, but it would not mean much to somebody who, doesn't know 14. And so, yeah, my nitpicks are, I wish that I would have had more time with the full kit, and for better or worse, that side content is that side, like, from 14. Like, it is either the most nothing thing that you're just like, I'm doing this so that I can get the experience, so that I can get the level and move the fuck on. And there's other side quests that are like, I can't believe this isn't part of the main game. You guys are fucking crazy for allowing people to skip this. Like, that is like it's either one or the other. There's no in between.
I read an article the other day, and it had a headline of like Final Fantasy 16 side quests are MMO side quests without the MMO rewards. And to your point, I mean, it's just like 14, right? Like, some of them are going to be boring, stupid side quests. The thing that makes me think my first initial experience with side quests was in the Fat Chocobo. It's kind of rebuilding the little area, and they're like, go talk to those 2 guys and get wood. And you talk to them, and like, you don't actually pick up wood or carry wood. It just goes to your inventory. It's like, cool, now run the 15 feet back over there and deliver the wood. And you're like, okay, here you go. And they're like, ding, complete, thank you. And it's like, okay.
Yeah. So now, what I will say is, there are people, I think it is weird to hold a game accountable, or not accountable, but be too hard on a game for its side content, as long as it does not require you to do it at all. I did it because I am a crazy person, and I didn't want to see any icons on the map. I wanted it to be clear. I wanted it to have a little crown next to everything that said complete, and I was done. Right?
I think it's fair to want to do that in a game like Final Fantasy.
What I mean is that I don't,
because you're experiencing the whole story. So
sure, but there's a lot. But it's like, they even say, like, in the tooltips, like, hey, this is just like it. You don't. The ones with the pluses are the ones that matters. Like, it doesn't. You don't have to do this other shit, and there is, like, no penalty for leaving it undone. Like, you will be able to, like, I finished the game like 10 or 15 levels over what you need to finish it at. Like, you'll be just fine, like, going through the game, doing your thing. And so when people get like so upset, they're like, oh, some of these quests are so fucking stupid, and I'm like, why do it? Walk right by. You don't need to. It's okay. Like, It doesn't make you do it. There's nowhere in there saying that you have to do it. The only reason you're doing it is because you want to make the icon go away. And if that's what you're doing, then that's cool. But then acknowledge that it's on you, and it's not like you don't have to do it. But yeah, those would be my nitpicks. But in general, like, I walked away from that game and I immediately was like, I'm gonna come back to this at some point to like do it again. Like it's that good. I really, really enjoyed it. I thought everything they did was super clever and well done.
So before we move on, I had something to add on to the 16 stuff. Again, back to the articles. So I saw 2 articles this week that I thought were really interesting. And one of them said that the Final Fantasy series, so not 16, Final Fantasy series, has now sold as many copies as GTA 5. And
That's
I don't think they were trying.
The crazy.
It's weird.
That says
a
way
weird
more
way to
about
say
GTA 5
Yeah.
than Final Fantasy. Because if you think about it,
it does.
like Final Fantasy 7 is one of the best selling. It's not. I think we've talked about this. Not any of our favorites by any stretch, but it is it is one of the most important JRPGs probably in history, and it sold gangbusters. So for it to only be part of the solution that gets you 16 games deep to getting GTA 5 says way more about how just
right. And they weren't
goddamn
being.
insane Grand Theft
It
Auto
was a
is.
weird. It was a weird comparison, a weird article. But they're like, it's now sold as many as GTA 5, and it was saying a big part of that has been led by Final Fantasy 16 that just came out, which has sold over 3 million copies. And they were saying 3 million copies in that first week makes it the fastest selling PlayStation 5 exclusive out, which I also think is a little interesting because I can't think of too many PlayStation 5
Ratchet
exclusives.
and Clank, the Dark Souls
Right.
Remaster.
Uncharted.
Uncharted, maybe, yeah. So it was an interesting article, but it was speaking
PS5
to the
though.
series in a positive light. So it wasn't a negative article, but that was
Wait, did you say it
followed-
was the fastest selling PlayStation
PS5.
exclusive on PS5
Yes,
or
PS5
PlayStation?
exclusive.
Oh,
So yes, Ratchet and Clank, Demon Souls Remastered, and what? Returnal? It's the only thing I was gonna think of.
Yeah, so not that many.
What was a little robot game? Little robot game, the tech demo for the controller.
Astro Boy.
Astros,
Yeah,
that was
Astro's
a pack-in,
Playroom.
so that doesn't
Yeah.
count.
It's a tech
So,
demo. Very good. Game.
but
a good
the article
game.
was a positive towards Final Fantasy, right? They were just saying like, "Congrats, you've sold a lot," and this game has sold 3 million, which is pretty quick. But it was followed by an article that I saw that was saying that, and I think the exact words were, "Final Fantasy fans melt down," which immediately you should discount an article like that. But they melt down like a bunch of little snowflakes over the lackluster sales of Final Fantasy 16, and they were talking
Why
about
do you care?
how by this time in 15's life cycle, 15 had sold 2 million more copies, albeit most were physical rather than digital.
15 was
and
also multi-platform.
they
but
they barely quickly called that out, but I just thought it was interesting, and I didn't know where do you think this game might fall by the end of the year or in the long run
I think
of Final Fantasy? Because we know the team, like there's a lot of hype, and there was a lot of hype
Yeah.
before the game came out of like huge kaiju battles, right, and icon
but
battles.
boy, let
So
me tell you, they are there. Here's the thing. I think anytime that you see articles coming out that are like always following up each other, like good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, I think that speaks to how popular the game is.
I see the melting down was Kotaku, who I've shared my frustrations about before,
But
and
the
the positive
reason-
one was Games Radar.
The reason that I think that you'll see that though is because, or the reason I say that is that because people would not be making good or bad like attention grabbing articles like that are basically just clickbait for both ways, because that's what sells. Like you're gonna and they know that this game is at least has crossed the threshold of being popular enough that people are going to click on whatever article they can see that's going to help them further their opinion on whatever the fuck they feel like this game is at. So like, I mean, it's the same thing with Tears of the Kingdom, right? Like, people always talk about how great Tears of the Kingdom is, which I'm in that camp. I think Tears of the Kingdom is great. But if you hate, I can find just as many posts and articles about people not liking Tears of the Kingdom as I can people liking it and praising it, in the same way that Final Fantasy is going to have the same thing. And I think this also comes with the territory of being an exclusive. As soon as you're exclusive and you're doing good, like gangbusters numbers, there is going to be an equal amount of people that are going to want to see that game just trash and burn and be like awful, as much as people want to be like, this game is the greatest, cope and seethe everybody who can't get it, blah blah blah, like, all the weird attitudes that people have. I think for regular, normal, well-adjusted people that don't have issues they should go talk to somebody about, this game will fall. I think that it would be absolutely wild if there are people who do not say, at the very least, that this is the best Final Fantasy since 10. You might come away and be like, I still like 10 a little bit more, or whatever. Like, if you're one of those people, but there is no shot that it is not better than 12, all 13 games, and 15. And this is coming from somebody that I am a 15 enjoyer. Like, I think 15 is a good game. Yeah. I don't think it's like, one of the best. It's not the best Final Fantasy ever made, but it was a good game. I enjoyed my time.
98% of it was fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I wouldn't go that far. There's some stuff that's not great in that game, but in general, it is a good.
I was talking about the story all but the final time jump chapter, but otherwise.
Yeah, there's some stuff. It gets, yes. Either way, I think that in general, that game is good to find most of the time, and 13 is what 13 is, and I'm again 12. I think is the same. I think 12 is a really great game. I think 12 up until this one, 12 was the one that I was like, yeah, that's the best one that's been released since 10 is 12. Mm-hmm. And now 16 is out, and I'm like, okay, finally we're here where you've beat something that came out, almost fucking 15 years ago. So like, I think that for most normal people, that is where it will land, is that it will either be above for people who really, really liked it, and it'll be like, this is either the best one, or it is the second best one, or whatever, or people will be like, at the bare minimum, it is the best one that's came out since 10. Mm-hmm. I think that's where most normal people will land.
I'm excited. Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
Do you think?
I'm excited too.
You know what? I'll save this question till the end of the podcast. Random.
Okay.
Right down.
Yep.
So the next game I played was Dead Space Remake.
Nice. Fine. Pop that in.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. You did not offer to stream that, huh?
He didn't.
Oh, it's because I got it on. Preston, hooked me up with the Xbox copy, so I don't have a way. Like, it's not on my PC.
GameFly made it a very cheap purchase for him.
Yeah. So Preston got an offer from GameFly.
You could just Discord stream it on your Xbox, like I've done with games before, right? No,
Discord streaming doesn't do that.
You'd have to do it through Twitch. I don't think we'll do that.
I don't see the problem. I did score on Xbox through Twitch.
I'm not signed in through. Plus,
all I'm saying is I'm very disappointed you did not offer.
First of all,
stream that.
You did Scorn on Twitch. You played Scorn for an hour and a half one night.
I'm not saying I finished it, but I'm saying we did it and it all worked. We all watched it. It was totally fine.
And it was okay. But the problem
was it can't be done.
No, so the problem was that with the survival horror games, we were seeing things in a 15, 30-second fucking delay, and so we're trying to explain what we think is going on with the puzzles, and you're like, well, I've already moved past that, and then it would catch up to whatever was happening while we were on an audio chat.
But if I'm watching you play Dead Space in the evening, it doesn't matter.
It does, because if we're in a chat, and I'm sitting here and I go, oh, fuck, and then I'm going, you're like, what happened? And then it waits 30 seconds, and then it pops up.
I probably wouldn't have been on chat. You could have done it. I'm just saying you didn't.
We're always on chat. We did all these games on chat.
It's a thought that counts.
Children.
Okay.
You didn't even offer.
Children.
Well, I'm only through the first chapter, so if you guys really want to see it that bad, I'll stream it for you.
Sure.
But anyways, so I've only made it through the first chapter.
Looks good. Looks real good.
Boy, does it!
Real
It is
good.
as soon as they when you load in, you're just there's three things. First thing is, boy, does this look pretty. That's your first. I mean, you're like, this clearly a fresh coat of paint on this thing, but also it really goes to show like how they nailed every aspect of the design of that first Dead Space. I actually really like the other two as well, but I know those are more divisive for people. But for that first Dead Space, like every aspect of that design is nailed so hard that when you see it in these in the remake graphics, you're just like, oh damn, like you guys did it. Like this is still good today. Like there's just no two ways about it. Number two is Isaac talks in this one. For those of you who don't know, he is a silent protagonist in the first one, and then in 2 and 3 he somehow has the ability to speak. And they never address that. But in this, for the remake,
he was just unsure of himself. He needed confidence.
True. In this first one, or in the remake, he now has full dialogue, and it's not like just like little one-liners here and there. He's having full conversations with people. So he's voiced now by his look has changed a little bit, because everybody's look has, because it is how they make games now, but it's all based off their mocap person is who they look like. So, or the voice actor. So you're like, that's your first. I was like, Jesus, it's so weird to hear him talking. And then now, because I'm such a huge fan of Dead Space, my third thing is, it's so weird to hear him talking. Now I want to hear everything he has to say, because I'm thinking of all these moments where he's just dead silent in Dead Space 1. I'm like, if I'm really thinking about it, that probably would not have aged well. Like if you were to go back and play it, like it would still be a great survival horror game, obviously, but the entire time you'd just be like, yeah, still weird that he has nothing to say during this whole thing. Just a lot of grunts of oohs and ahs and whatever. But he, like, it's fully voiced. So it's been great. My only complaint that I have talked about with a friend of the show, Bumbus, is it sounds like, except for save a couple, it sounds like almost all the voice actors have been changed from the original, because obviously they're doing the mocap person or the voice actor, whatever, and so they are wanting it to be one and the same person, right? Which is fine, especially if you've never played the original Dead Space. Then you probably don't even notice it. Like, it's probably not that big of a deal. But for me, somebody who played that game like fucking 6-7 times over, and also like knew it front to back, it's weird not hearing the original voices that I'm used to. And in some cases, I think the original voices are better than the new ones they got. But they all, like, these, and that's not to say that these new people do a bad job. It just doesn't hit my ears right.
How much better than Callisto Protocol is it?
So here's the thing, man. It is upsetting. Like, because you can tell. So here's the thing. I am actually, again, I'm still of the opinion that I think Callisto Protocol is a good game. I don't think it's a bad game by any stretch. That being said, it is, and you can still tell that the people who made Callisto Protocol are the people who made Dead Space. Like, that is, there's no two ways about that. But it is tough because there's so many decisions that they did with Callisto Protocol that did not end up panning out or not working. And you're like, as much as most people don't like, as much as this is, I think it doesn't work a lot of the times when companies try to do this, it really would have been easier if people would have been able to look at the Callisto Protocol devs and been like, hey, just do Dead Space again. It's okay. That's what we want. Like, it's not a big deal. No one's going to be upset at you. No one's going to tell you that you're just biting off your old ideas or it's just Dead Space again. No one's going to say that. It's okay. You can just do that again, and everybody will be happy. Because as you go through Dead Space 1, you're just like, God, it's just everything is right. This is right. This is exactly how this should feel. This is exactly what you want to have happen. And if you're not going to do this, then you should make something else. Like, you should not even be in the same area because it's not going to feel as good as what this is. Yeah. So I don't, I guess take that for, what you want, I guess.
So it is quite a bit better. You're saying it's quite a bit better.
Yeah, it feels a lot better. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but it's the difference between, like, I don't know. I don't remember what I said about Callisto Protocol back when it came out, but that was last year, wasn't it? That was not this year.
It was last year. Yeah, it was last year.
Thank God. I would say it would be the difference between, like, a 7 and a 10. Like, that's probably where I would land. Like, like, Callisto Protocol is a solid 6.57, and Dead Space 1 is a fucking 10. Like, it's still absolutely god tier. And then I just been playing Tears of the Kingdom, so just slowly picking my way through that. Mapped out some more of the depths. Did some more of the temples. I'm on the Fire Temple now. That's about it. I disagree. I will say, Alex, I think you're a little too hard on the side content in Tears of the Kingdom because
what side? I wasn't hard on side content.
Well, you're like it's too much and most of it is boring. And the reason I disagree is because it is the exact perfect type of side content where there is absolutely no penalizing for not doing any of it or doing all of it. Like, you get exactly what you want out of whatever amount you want to do, and then you can just walk away. So there's nothing, like, you
just
don't
for the
have
record,
to,
I never called it boring. I said it was too much.
but you don't have to go do any of it.
Sure, it's too much.
So then it's not.
But I made. But no, I made my point.
I would say it's
which was if you're gonna play this game for 6 months is great. For somebody like me that's trying to plow through a lot, it was too much for me. I interacted with what I interacted with.
But it is.
I did what I wanted to do. Is what I said.
It's not too much because you don't have to do any of it. You can just walk right
but
by.
It's Alex, and he's not going to do that. Is what he's saying. He's going to do the thing.
That's what I'm getting at. That's what I'm getting at. Is that you've spent longer than it would take to get through all of the side content in Tears of the Kingdom. You have spent longer on far less for games that actively will make it will feel like it's punishing you for not doing that side content. And in those games, it was enough to finish it and do it all. But in this game, it's too much. And the reason I think it's too much is because you right now are in this period of, I have a lot of shit to finish, and it is the middle of the year, and I want to finish a lot of these games, but that's not the game's fault.
I would do a lot. I did, like, what did I say I did? I did 80 something of the shrine stuff. Like, I could see myself one day, like, finishing the shrines, other stuff. I will stand by my opinion on the depths right now.
I disagree, and that's one of the main ones I disagree with. I think the depths is so fun. It is this totally underground city, and first of all, you loved it in Elden Ring, so I don't see what the difference is here. But
a different experience.
It's not a different experience. It's completely brand new. You get down there and you're like, oh shit, I have no idea what's going on. It has mechanics that are unique to itself, and you have to then go and map it out and figure it out. It's the same thing.
Yeah. To flip on the light switches.
Okay, whatever. You can be as flippant as you want about any side content in any game, but you're only doing that for this one.
The depths in this game did not have the awe that the depths in Elden Ring had, and it's unfair to say it's the same thing. I
completely disagree.
I remember watching you in the hotel room when you were playing and I was playing Bloodborne. You hit those depths in Elden Ring and you went, oh my God, what is going on? Like, this is incredible. Like, you were so hyped. And I have a feeling
the depths in this game did not take your breath away the same way because it wasn't as unexpected.
Well, so first of all,
Right?
let's just be very
So-
clear. Nothing in Elden Ring took my breath away. So let's get that out of the way.
You
first of
were
all.
so you
Number
since
two-
you beat that game. You have
No.
downplayed your
No, I have
experience.
not. No,
so
you. If anything,
much
you have
since being
upplayed
in
it.
the moment.
You have
No.
upplayed my playing through that game. But I will say, no, I think it is exactly the same thing. You get down there and it is mechanics that are completely unique only into that area. It is not the same way anywhere else, and it has its own thing. And yes, the way you uncover the map is by activating the light roots. But that's the same. What the fuck do you collect in Hogwarts? Wands? That's like me going and be like, oh, well, you're just picking up sticks and then pointing them at people. And you're like, well, no, they're magic wands. You know, I was just picking up sticks. You're just picking up sticks, so who gives a fuck? Like it's the same. Like you can do that with anything that has collected. That you have to do things. So like it's
no,
just
because
you're just
the
being
map in
sassy about it
Hogwarts is
because-
the map in Hogwarts is open.
and that's
in
you're
order
being-
to open this, I have to turn on light. Look, I'm
you're
not
being
saying it's bad. I'm just
sassy about
saying,
it because you saw the breadth of what you would have to do, and it immediately hit the wrong part of your brain where you said, "Oh God, this if I want to do all this, I'm never gonna be able to go back and finish Hi-Fi Rush and Hogwarts and also play Final Fantasy 16 and also do these things, and I'm never gonna be able to do it. Which means this side content is bad, and I shouldn't do it.
No.
That is
No,
yes.
I never said the side content was bad. I said, and I think we made this clear. I said it was too much. I recall saying if this happened last year or the year before when we had a drought in games, it would be great because it would last forever. And I said this year is a bad year for all. That's all I said. That's all my opinion. I never said it was bad.
Last year you
I never said it was bad.
You spent 80 hours going around collecting little fucking
There
dollar
were no
tags
games last year. That's what I'm saying.
But my
I
point is
never
that
said
that is
this was
not- that is-
bad.
You signing yourself up to play too many games is not Tears of the Kingdom's fault. I think there's plenty of discourse to be had about people overplaying Zelda and being like it's God's gift to the earth and whatever. But it having a lot of things to do is not one of them.
I never said it was bad.
You said it was too much, and then you were
said there was
pretty
too
you were
much. I said
you were
for me
pretty
it was too
dismissive
much.
about the
I
depth.
said it was too much.
It's not. It's a good amount for a video game like that. Especially if you're trying to do an open world sandbox. That's what you want. You want a lot of things to do. That was the only other game I played.
Let's move on.
So that was the only other game I played. I haven't played, and then I've still been chipping away in Magic and 14, but that's about it.
Nice.
Yep.
All right, Preston, what you got?
All right. I'll do this one first because Christian didn't mention it, but we did get a couple sets in on Street Fighter 6.
This week?
Yeah, this past week. It was one of the nights that Homeboy
Oh, this
Halo
week we
Canada
did.
opened. Yeah.
We did this weekend. Yeah.
I mainly wanted to mention it because
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I mainly want to mention it because I'm not getting my ass pushed in as much by Christian. I'm actually getting some round wins, not full match wins, but I'm getting some round wins in against his fucking Marissa. But yeah, I've been trying to dabble with other characters. It's just not feeling as smooth and as like, it doesn't respond enough for me like as Cammy does. Cammy just for some reason just works well with.
There was one of the sets that you were playing is E Honda, and I think I said after I beat him like 5-0, and I was like, I don't know, man. I really think you should just go back to Cammy. He's like, oh, sorry, let's go back to Cammy. Is that what I should do?
Like, heaven forbid you try another
That's
character. Fuck you.
impressive.
1v1 me and Snap, bro.
Yeah.
I know.
for real.
1v1 me and Snap.
So the
Hey,
Street Fighter
hey.
thing,
Okay.
the Street Fighter thing I did want to bring up is just really quick before we moved off it is
To your
I think
Blanca.
you might have seen this, Preston. No, did you? I'm sure saw, and it's only because Street Fighter, and then it launches into fighting games in general. But did you see the Sonic Fox stuff that happened?
Yeah,
over
it's
this
fantastic.
weekend
It's
with
phenomenal. It's fucking phenomenal. Some dude calls him out on the internet, and he's like, "I will play you, and I'll give you what they say, 10 grand, a grand."
So for those who don't know, this random guy on Twitter decides to talk shit to Sonic Fox, who is notable fighting
One of the best
game
fighting
savant.
fighters of
He's
all
one of the
time.
best
Yeah,
fighting
he's-
game players, probably.
Major League Gaming.
He picks
Where is
any
it?
game, and he's good at it.
There is an
Smash
argument to be
Brothers,
said-
Mortal Kombat, whatever.
there's an argument to be said by the end of his career, he will probably be better than Daigo, which is like before was like the biggest
God
fighting
tier.
game person before that. But so either way, the reason this is why I think I'm so happy that this story got so big, because one, fighting games, especially with Street Fighter 6, are bigger than they've ever been, and so it's more eyes on this genre that I think is the greatest, because it is the actual only genre that allows people to fuck around and find out, like from real people. And so this guy just decides to reach out to Sonic Fox to talk shit, and he said some like weird stuff
on Twitter,
and then also while like sort of praising low tier God in a way, which is like an extremely problematic content creator who's not great. And so it's this whole thing. And so Sonic Fox just was like, you know what, man? I've got 30 minutes. So you hop on Mortal Kombat, which is the game that he's like most famous for. And he was like, if you win, I'll give you $10,000. $10,000, 10 G's right now.
but
And if you lose, you have to become a furry. Which is Sonic Fox, for those who don't know, is a furry. Like
Yes.
full open.
he brings
open
the
furry.
costume with him and everything. Yeah, fantastic.
And it should also be noted he is gay. He said like
Yeah.
it was a whole thing when he won Dragon Ball Fighters. He was like, "I'm Sonic Fox. I'm a furry, and I'm gay. So
Yeah.
I won. I beat everybody. Have fun with that information." And just and got people all sorts of mad.
It's awesome.
So, but he was like, "You'll have to become a furry, straight up." And so the guy, now, if you're just a regular person, immediately when you get that off, you have to take that offer, because what
10 grand.
if Sonic Fox has a heart attack in the middle of the set and you win? Like,
It's 10
that's
grand.
10 G's. Like, that's a life-changing amount of money. Like, you gotta. So he.
I like how there's so many things that could happen. You could have a disconnect, you could power outage, whatever.
Heart
But you
attack.
straight
Straight
up heart
die,
attack.
maybe.
Well, because
Yeah.
even with the disconnect, the disconnect would have to happen for the first 5 seconds for you to avoid getting to dying. Otherwise, if that match goes on for 30 seconds, Sonic Fox is killing you. There's
You're already done.
no
Yeah.
shot.
You're already done.
So, but if he dies like in real life in the middle of that set, you might have a chance. So, you have to take it. So the guy takes it, and immediately if you go and look at the clips, there's clips everywhere. But immediately in the middle of the set, the dude just starts every excuse in John's in the book that you could pull out.
Damn.
Oh, I haven't played this game in a long time. Oh shit, I need to get PSN. My credit card was declined, so I need to go. I need to get my PSN up. I need to do this. And right when they're on the character select screen, the guy is basically just being like, "Oh, dude, we do have to do it. Come on, like, just turn the stream off. Turn the stream off." Like, the guy is just like
He's trying to bail out
breaking
hard.
lives so
Yeah.
bad. And of course, Sonic is like, "No, man, I want this to be a lesson to everybody.
Talk
You
shit. Get shot.
Talk shit, and this is what happens. Like, don't like fuck around and find out." So what follows is this dude just getting fucking demolished to the point where there's a mechanic in Mortal Kombat that I know Preston knows of, which is if you pull off what's called a mercy, you will give your opponent more life in the middle of the match. And so Sonic Fox is in the middle doing combos and then teabagging him, doing combos, teabagging him, and then does a mercy to keep him alive longer just to continue to beat
Do
his
it
ass
more.
further.
Amazing.
It is so bad. So obviously,
best.
dude gets fucking demolished. He quits, leaves the whole thing, and Sonic goes, "Well, he has to become a furry. You guys all saw it. There's that." And he reaches out to all of his artist friends, and he's like, "So does anybody want to start on the commissions for him? You know, whatever." So immediately, this dude gets on Twitter. He starts talking about how, you know, it wasn't a real bet. He's not going to honor it. He's not going to do it. He's not going to be a fuck this. It's not happening, blah, blah, blah. And so people were like, "Oh, he's ducking the smoke." Like, that's what people
Yeah.
started saying. So, of course, his persona became a duck. So,
I didn't see that part.
dude, the art starts immediately. I mean,
Free art for him.
just all of this. So now that it's real and that people have associated it with him and has found out his name and everything
It's the
like
duck
that,
guy.
it is it got to the point where apparently I didn't get to see this. I'm sure somebody has like an archive.org, like a way for you to go and look, but apparently this dude went and said some really vitriolic shit that he was able to then get kicked off of Elon Musk Twitter.
Yeah.
Which is
Which
like
is incredible because
Hard.
yesterday Elon Musk literally called Mark Zuckerberg a cuck
Yeah.
and said, "Let's have a dick measure contest." To the point where I saw it and go, "Well, clearly that's not real. I need to Snopes this," and it was 100% real.
So you know that whatever he said was truly heinous for them to take action. So I don't know what he said, but he said something. But either way, this I think encapsulates why Preston and I love this genre so much, is because this is the only genre in games where something like this can happen. It is incredible. Just chef's kiss.
It's great. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Other than SF6, still going to Snap at rank 87 right now, so I'm just waiting to hit the 90 and hoping to get hopefully Infinite by next week, depending on how much I play, but we're trying to go through that. I don't know if I mentioned last time, but I did get the Lockjaw, but I also got Dr. Doom. So I'm super stoked about that because it was either Lockjaw or Doom. I was going to take my free pick this month because you get a free series card 3 every month you get to pick from. You just got to wait for it to pop up on the random generator. So I picked Lockjaw, and then I was going through my boxes just, because now every 3 or 4 caches you get an automatic new card. Or it's a variant, one of the two. You get some type of card. And I got Doom, so I'm like, fuck yeah, I got Doom. So I got to put him in a bunch of decks. He goes really well into Lockjaw deck, so I got a nice little Lockjaw Doom deck. And I had a lot of fun with that on the stream. But yeah, it was a good time. And yeah, just working on that ladder climb to get myself Infinite. And then I did, just continue on the cards, I did finally finish the tutorial for Magic the Gathering. I did have a brain refresher on what that was. It's a good game. I know all my things still. It's just I gotta get back into the what decks do what kind of deal. That's where I'm kind of at right now as far as figuring that out on the time that I do have to figure that out, or that I let myself have the time to figure it out. But used Christian's code, so now I have all my Lord of the Rings in there. So I just went num, give me all the packs, and I had a good 20 minutes of me just opening packs and getting a whole bunch of serotonin into my body. It was nice. And then I also continue on with cards. I played 3 card games this week.
Oh yeah.
DC Dual Force, I think that's what they called it. I'd have to move this shit out of the way. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. That's bad.
I think the way you're speaking about this right now should tell everybody listening
it's not a great game.
about how this is gonna go. Yep.
The game itself is fine. It's a lot like Magic. I hear a lot of people say it's a lot like Hearthstone, but with the DC flavoring. It's got a campaign you can go through, so you're fighting against AI, which is comic book, graphic comic kind of style, that they do the animated graphic novels or whatever, to where the character's kind of moving and they have something voice acting kind of deal. If it's raining, the rain kind of comes in kind of deal. But the voice acting is fucking horrible. Lex Luthor is bad, and Joker's bad. Batman is not great. Harley Quinn is just bland, basic female voice, and it's just all the voicing is bad. Here's the one point.
Somebody going Mr. J, and then
yeah,
letting that go.
Yeah, dude, you are not far off. You could probably replace her and it would still be close to the same quality. But it got to a point to where here's what you don't want in a card game. When I'm opening my packs, when I'm doing all this kind of stuff, getting the new cards, I shouldn't be not wanting to do that, right? You would want to open up packs and cards and get all that. That's the main thing of you, I want new packs. I want to feel that rush of getting opening packs. They give you a handful of packs at the very beginning. It's the beta, all your progress carries over. So here's a bunch of packs to go through. I'm opening packs, and I'm like, why isn't this over yet? I don't want to watch the animations. I got to click all of them. When you open a pack in Magic, it opens the thing, it does the foil thing, and then you can see all your cards, right? In DC, what happens in DC card game is that you open the packs, all the packs are upside down, and then your basic cards you have to click on that are all highlighted, and it opens those up. Then you got to click on the special cards that you get. And then sometimes in those packs, you get another pack. So it's all of a sudden, I'm going through, I'm trying to get through my packs just to be done with them. Okay, we're doing this on stream, I just want to finish up my packs. And I keep getting new packs. I'm like, you should not be upset about getting more packs in a card game. Like that.
They're trying to build that anticipation for gambling, right? Like you don't know what's coming, so you have to click each one. So
So
you'll buy,
here's,
yeah,
gonna be the
buy
one?
more packs.
here's what I did. I said
Yeah.
if I get Constantine as a leader card, I was like, I'll play this game again. I didn't get Constantine.
Which means the game got uninstalled, baby.
You
Also,
are correct, sir.
shout out to the victory and the vindication that Christian and I just had. As
Yeah, I know.
he definitely
I did
said
it.
Constantine.
I did it.
And did twice
Yeah.
and did not say it the other way. So
Yeah.
The shtick is now gone.
Vindication!
Yeah. But yeah, no, the DC game. It's the card game itself is not a horrible card game. It's a decent card game. It plays. It's fun, but it's just the
Everything
overall
else around
surroundings
it.
is not great.
sounds to me like typical DC fashion right now, and I'm sure I'll get plenty of hate.
Outside of their animated stuff and
I
their
don't
actual
think so.
comics, yeah.
I was say it sounds like it's a bit more of, hey, let's throw something out there. Marvel is doing really well at this right now. Let's do a card game similar, and it seems that it's
So-
well thought out but not perfectly executed.
This is what I hear, and I don't. There's no like anything to back this up, but I've heard this, and I kind of have the feeling of this. They made this game and decided not to release it, and like, okay, well, we don't want this card game. Marvel Snap comes out making a fuck ton of money. They're like, well, we did have this card game that's pretty much we mostly made. We could just kind of slap some voice actors on it, do like some other stuff like campaign, and have our own card game and make money like Marvel's doing. That's what it feels like to me. Because
Which
like,
means they
it's
probably have a
not
lower
great game.
cost of entry too. If it was done and they were like, scrap it, who cares? It would be really easy to turn it back on, and whatever residual income
Yeah,
comes in.
because it's
you
probably
got.
almost
You know,
done when they fucking put it away. But who
The
knows?
craziest thing
It's not-
about that
yeah.
to me is that I think it truly does, and I'm sure you guys feel this way more than I do because I'm not like a comic person at all. But like, it truly does make you want, like, you just have to sit around and look at like a screen or whatever and just be like, what the fuck are you doing over there?
Yeah,
that
I mean, like the
company?
whole thing that's like I was actually kind of interested in the whole campaign doing the cards because you play through like comic books. Like if there's a comic books that have released, you're playing through them, and like okay, once the superhero meets up with the villain, that's when it goes to the card game, and the villain's the leader card. You're playing your superhero leader card, and it's not based on what cards you have. It's based off of like the cards that they give you for that comic book. And I thought that was interesting. It'd be kind of cool, but the voice acting is such hot garbage. The cards aren't super fun to play with, and it's just it just crumbles apart. So they had to get a hit with me, but they didn't. So I'm glad. I'm fucking glad because Magic's
You
great.
can't afford. You
Snap
can't
is
afford
great.
two of them.
I put
Snap's
too much in
great,
the
you can't
Snap.
afford two of
I will play Magic, and I will be there with you guys. I will be that guy in Yu-Gi-Oh who says Yugs all the time. I'll be there as your cheerleader.
Joey?
I'll be Joey. I'll be like, come on, Yugs, come on, Christian, come on, Alex, you got it. All right, get your
They
hot in
really
the
do
cards.
just give him a fucking New York accent and just let it.
I
rip.
also think it's hilarious that you think we would ever be to the point where you would be cheering us on when clearly you are the one that we will be cheering on.
Yeah, if anything, we'll just be like, he's a savant.
Just
he
wait
figured
until I
it
get
out.
into Magic hard. Just wait until until
No,
Snap falls away.
not Magic. I'm talking about Snap. Whenever Snap turns into some like, hey, we're gonna bring Snap to this MLG tournament. Feel free, come on down to the
They've had tournaments.
quarters shop. We're gonna like.
I've been following
You'll be
this
the one that
guy,
gets cheered on.
Lambie. Lambie's like we've been watching him a bunch of tournaments. He's apparently like he's won like Hearthstone tournaments and like all these other card game tournaments. He's like god tier, like that kind of deal. But it's I've been following him a lot more now because he's been making some crazy fucking decks, and just the way he estimates and like anticipates things, like the guy has a fucking brilliant mind. Like the
So-
beautiful mind is going on when he's fucking playing.
The day that you play him in a tournament,
and
do you
win.
think you'll have the same sort of experience that Kobe had when he played Michael Jordan for the first time? Like,
No.
hey, I'm on the same court with this
No.
dude. Like, I can't believe it.
No, it's like a child playing against Michael Jordan at that point.
You won't feel that way.
He's gonna
Okay.
fucking wreck me.
Well, guess what? Michael Jordan is known to play against children and has destroyed
and
every
push them
single
down.
hopes and
Yeah.
dreams that-
Fair enough. Yeah, no, it's what will happen. But yeah, that's my card corner. And then we got a little bit of Halo Infinite Season 3 with Christian. We played some of that Infection
Season
mode.
4.
Season 4, sorry. Season 4. Played some of the Infection mode. Infection mode's a lot of fun. We'll have to get into that.
I did forget that.
Alex.
It was super
yeah.
fun.
It's a lot of fun. And then also the big game gun mode or whatever it's called. The ones with the team-based gun game.
Big team battle escalation.
Yes, so that way it's based off of your cumulative like team kills, and that's when you get to advance to the next gun. So like you're both racing each team to like get the next gun. That's a lot of fun. It was interesting. I like that. I love gun gaming
I was
because it
gonna
changes.
log in.
I know, I love gun game too.
I
It's
love
one of
gun
the best
gaming.
modes.
It just
ever
changes everything.
created.
I love it.
I hate giving credit to Call of Duty, but when they did, it
Hey.
literally was a fucking banger mode.
Yeah,
It's so
great
good.
idea.
I was gonna log in, but we were in the bedroom with like the pups just hanging out, and I was watching Little One. Now, the only way I could have played would have been remote on iPad, which we've done in the past. Like I've played
Sure.
Halo
yeah.
with you guys
Yeah.
with an iPad, but I was like, I don't know if I'll be able to chat, and I don't think it's gonna be the best experience.
Christian didn't need to carry two
just
people that
trying-
night. It's fine.
Yeah, right.
Other than I got one last one. I got a little game I've been dabbling in because I'm waiting for 16 to show up in the mail. But until then, or until another game comes out, I am softly dabbling in what's called a game called last year, Arcade Paradise. So this is a
familiar.
smaller game. What happens is that you are taking over the family laundromat. You're putting the laundry in the wash machine, putting the dryer. You got a timer on your watch to let you know it's done. But also, there's a small little arcade on the side. So the thing is that you're doing the laundry for the laundromat. You're making money. You're picking up trash. You're taking gum off the wall. You're cleaning the toilet. Everything has its own game mode too. So like when you're cleaning the toilet, you're moving the right stick around to find the right angle, and you're mashing the X button to fucking get it. And the toilet itself has a health bar. So there's a lot of small fun things like that you gotta take care of every once in a while. But the best part is the arcade that you get. So your family, your father owns essentially this building, and right now you only have the two small sections: the laundromat and the little small arcade in the back. So you're going through there, and you're buying arcades. The more you play, the more money you accrue. You can start buying arcades, and you're essentially turning this place into more of an arcade than a laundromat. I haven't gotten super duper far in, but you do get different sections of the building later on. Once that becomes a little bit more of like, oh, hey, Dad, I'm actually doing well with this arcade thing. You should let me have this section of the business, and then I can have more room to store more arcades for me to buy. But it's a lot of fun. It's a nice, you know how when I talked about wanting to play Diablo, and I wanted to have a nice little game to play while listening to podcasts. Well, Diablo has been dethroned from another section because this is a nice game for me to sit down and have some fun and just do some laundry, play a little bit of these arcade games. One of them, the arcade is a lot of fun because they're not arcade games that you would know. It's not like you're playing Pac-Man. The game that you would play would be, I forget what the name of it's called, but it's essentially a cross between like top-down Grand Theft Auto and Pac-Man. To where you're playing, it looks like Grand Theft Auto, like the old school top-down. But the board and the level is like Pac-Man style. Instead of the dots, you're picking up little like squares of cash. Instead of the ghost, it's cops. And you're driving like a yellow Lamborghini. And you get power-ups to go fast, or you get like the special like I'm gonna kill a ghost button, which turns you into a tank. So you're running around the map as a tank, running over the cops, and they're kind of running away. If a cop hits you,
Sounds very violent.
It's very cutesy. It's not very violent at all.
It sounds like kids shouldn't play this game at all.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You hit the cop car and the little cops go running away. But no, it's if the
Also, I
cop.
love how you just called it cutesy
It's
as you
cutesy.
turn into a tank and you're chasing cops for their
No,
life.
like you bump the cop car and the cop car stops and then two cops come out of it. You can't kill the cops or anything like that. It's just like you hit the car, it stops them from moving around and hurting you. And they go back to the main middle section and get their own car again. They come back out.
You press the stop police brutality button.
Yeah. But the last fun part about the game is that when the cop hits you, like as far as like when the ghost hit the Pac-Man, you don't automatically like, lose your life or game over. It drops you out of the car and you're running away to go to the next spot where there's a car in the map as the cops are chasing you on foot too, but you're this little guy with a boombox running around hitting tunes up, looking for your car. It's fun little games like that. There's a bunch of them and I've only
And they
gotten 4 or
start
5
screaming.
unlocked.
They start screaming, "Stop resisting! Stop resisting!"
Yeah,
He's got a
no.
bomb on his shoulder. The whole thing.
Yeah.
Escalated so
Yeah, I'm not going too much
quickly.
farther into that one.
So quickly.
But yeah, it's a lot of fun. You're gathering coins from those games and gathering coins from your spot and just making sure that you're doing laundry on time. You get rankings based on the laundry, based on the timing that, if you played the game too long while that shit sat in the dryer, you might get a C rank laundry done other than rather than an S tier if you did it immediately. So it's a lot of fun stuff like that. It's a nice
I
little
can relate to
dabble
that.
in
I've
doing.
had a lot of C rank laundry trips in my day. So
Like, man, I might want
Laundry
to
the
tumble
other
this.
night.
you're just like, I'm
did
phoning this
laundry
in. I'm phoning
I
this
did
in.
laundry again the other night. And like the day and a half later, I was coming through the garage and I go, "Oh, the washer's closed." I open it up and go, "Yep, that's been in here for 2 days.
We're
Looks like
watching
we're just
this again.
rewashing this shit."
Yeah, we're watching this one again.
Yeah, you just press the wash again button. You're like, whatever.
It's like I never
Yeah.
did it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, other than that, that's all I've been playing. I've been doing anything. It's a little bit of Witcher. Witcher's not great, but I'm kind of doing it because I like to see Henry, and it's fine. I just want to see where it's going at this point.
I thought The Witcher is fine.
It's fine. It's
You're
like,
not
again,
gonna-
fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm probably not as down on it because it's following the third book fairly closely.
Jake says he hates
So I kind of know. What is it?
Jake hates it.
Does he?
Yeah.
I would love to hear Jake's reason on why.
Well, I'm listen to the recent episode Two Worlds podcast. He has mentioned. He talks about it.
I'll have to. Yeah, I would love to hear his
Shout out
reason
Two
on
Worlds.
why on that one.
So it's Two Worlds.
Because it's fine. Like
It's fine. It's fine.
I don't know what happened in this show. The first season was really good and completely marred by like terrible decisions to do time jumps. And then the second season was okay and they got the stuff straight, but like they introduced the wild hunt for no reason and not at the right time and in the wrong way. And like this whole show should be great and it keeps getting held back by like nonsensical decisions when you have two options for source material. Both are very successful. Either follow the book or follow the game. Like it's not that difficult. And like how you're dropping the ball when you have two roadmaps that say here's how you do success. Like I don't
Because
understand.
Netflix wanting to do their own bullshit. The same way they fuck up every other anime live action or anything else that they do as far as their version of it. It's never great because it's got some chuckle fuck in there who doesn't know about the source material and wants to make his own version of it and make money.
Get after
Yeah.
it, dude. Let them know.
Fucking Netflix.
So is Netflix doing the same thing they did with JoJo in this, where they're only releasing
Part
part
one,
of the
part two.
season at one?
Yep, the part one's
Can I
now.
just say-
Part two is
can
at the
I
end of the
just
month
say-
too.
Yeah, part two. It's a month. It's
It was the same thing with
no
JoJo.
reason. Like
Can
I don't.
can
get
I
it.
just say that that is the I don't know who over there is making this fucking decision, but it
You know,
is
I know
Yeah, I
exactly
don't
why.
get it.
it is the dumbest. And well, I'm sure it's because they want to make it so that
One
the
extra month
people-
of subscription.
Yeah, it's continued engagement. I know, I get it. My problem that I have with that is that it is the least hype way to go through a show. Like now, people who like if somebody's getting into JoJo now, it doesn't matter because it's all out, so you don't have to experience this. But like if somebody who was consuming it like in the moment, I blasted the first part of the season, and it's such like a weird stopping point anyway.
It's never
that
an
they
actual
chose.
stopping part. Yeah.
Like
point,
you get there, and I'm like, okay, and then it's like, yeah, wait for part two. I'm like, well, why?
But
though?
at least in JoJo, there are things that happen throughout. Like you will get to watch entertaining battles and like entertaining
But-
nonsense.
yeah, but the problem
throughout
is,
season.
but you know, you've seen a little bit of parts of JoJo, and Preston, you've seen a shit ton of JoJo at this point. If I go a month, if I stop watching that show and then I go a month, so much shit might have happened in the first 14 episodes that I will look at the screen and I will go, I have to rewatch this whole fucking thing.
I get that, but like at least you have entertaining stuff to watch before that with The Witcher. And sorry, Preston, to break the news to you, the breaking point they have for this season,
Not surprised.
nothing happens.
Not surprised.
And it doesn't even end. It doesn't even end on a cliffhanger.
No.
Nothing.
It's just they wanted to
happens.
split it
ends-
in half.
It ends in the most boring possible way.
and
that
they
you're just
only
like,
do this.
they're like, hey,
I've
we're having a
noticed-
party tonight. Like, party's over, cool. Wait, next day, tune in next month. You're just like, why?
And they only do this on their high profile shows because there's still tons of shows that drop the full season like normal if it's
Yeah.
like a like average performer. But for like the big money shows or whatever, they're like, oh dude, we gotta keep them engaged, gotta keep them coming
It's-
back.
it's ballsy to do that though to The Witcher right now when you have so many people that are unsure on
Dude,
even like before
Dude, their
before
advertisement
everything comes through.
is trying to remind people that fucking Henry Cavill's Witcher. They're like, no, it's still Henry. Like, I
Right.
know you heard he's changing, but not yet. We want to let you know.
Right.
You can come back and watch this part.
So like why would you create more friction when you already have people that are like, I'm not sure that I want to come back for another person. Like I just
I can tell you
don't
why.
get it.
It's because especially when you get as big as Netflix, but when you have like this C-suite that I'm sure is there, they're completely out of touch with reality. They have no idea what normal people want or like. Or what do you think that these motherfuckers are sitting in their house watching Netflix using their own product? Absolutely not. No, they give a fuck less what shows are out because they're in the middle of flying, hoping to try to get in one of the little space jets that's gonna fucking let you go see Osby. Oh, whatever. I have so much money, I don't know what to do with. And they're gonna do all this shit. They're never gonna be sitting at their house being like, oh man, I can understand why people are mad at us. This is a horrible user experience. You ask any single one of them, how often you turn on Netflix, they'll go, never. Never. Or I use it sometimes when I want the 24-hour fucking rolling fireplace thing to put up at my little fucking, parties or whatever the fuck. It's so stupid. I like, you can just, it sucks because every company that we like that goes this way eventually. Like it's you start, it's a small idea, and you're taking on whatever is in place at the time, right? So like when Netflix, like I was an original Netflix buyer. Like I bought it early when it was just DVDs getting mailed to me, and every single time I said, you know what? It's better than fucking paying for cable. I'll pay for this. I will get the seasons of shows that I want to watch. I will get them. I will watch them. I will send them back. And within a couple days, boom, I'll have some more again. I can keep watching them for as long as I want. I'll send it back. Who gives a fuck? Like, but I was like, at least I'm not paying for cable. That's what I kept telling myself. And then they got into streaming and all this other stuff. And I was like, damn, this is really way better. This is great. This is fantastic. And there's a few years there where they weren't too big for themselves yet, but they were making a shit ton of money, and they were like, yo, we can really deliver some solid ass fucking products right now. And they did. And they made great shows, and it was cool, and you're like, dude, there's no reason ever to use cable. This is fantastic. And they're like, hey, what if we just became Comcast, though? Like, would you guys like that? And you're like, no. They're like, well, too late. We're already doing it. You're like, oh, sick. Fantastic. Same fucking thing with Hulu and all these other ones. It's just, every day I get closer to making a Plex server and inviting everybody to it, and then just ripping all of our shit and putting it on there.
I mean, hey, we can talk about that after the fact. Because I already have a hookup on a massive Plex server for my anyway.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
On the flip side, I randomly, and sorry, Preston, we can come back to you if you're not done yet, but I did finish The Bear season 2, and on going from a bad show to a, in my opinion, perfect show that actually upped the ante in season 2, and in my opinion, did it better somehow. It's really good. It's really, really good.
Nice.
I assume you guys have finished it too.
I have not.
Because you were ahead of me, I think.
I have finished.
No? They give everybody so much more character development, and it's heartfelt and still dramatic. Dude, chef's kiss on the season. If you're worried about it, in my opinion, no reason to be worried about this season. It's so good. So, anything else, Preston?
No, that is my week. That's all I got for you.
Okay. Then my week will be quick because I know we also have other stuff to cover here. I've only played a couple of games. So I beat Hi-Fi Rush. So we're marking things off the backlog of games that came out this year.
A game Preston and I, up until a couple weeks ago, were convinced you had finished.
No, finished it. Same
thing with the next game you're about to talk about, actually, as a matter of fact. I thought you finished that one too.
No, I'm not going to talk about that one. I haven't played it yet.
Oh.
I don't know what game will take number one at the end of this year, but I have to say, like, no game in as long as I can remember made me actively laugh out loud. Like, headphones on, and I just caught myself like giggling like an idiot to like some of these cutscenes and just the voice acting on how well it is. Like, okay, well,
my favorite one that still sticks with me is at the end when a certain character is. We won't do any spoilers, but when a certain character is, indisposed, essentially, like he's not in a good spot, and he's like, he's like, no, man, you're gonna be fine. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be great. And then he turns around and looks at one of the
like
characters,
he's not in good shape.
He is dead. And like, it's so good.
So anyway, it was very good. I finished that one. So marking stuff off. Christian, you were alluding to Hogwarts. I have not dove into that yet. I will dive into that. That'll be in the next like backlog.
Again, that was another game that I was convinced you had finished.
Nah, dude. I told you I'm like level 30 something, and I put like probably 40 hours in that game. I just got so lost in side stuff, like doing all the side stuff. Too much. Got lost in it. So I'll probably hop back in and mainline it. I'm probably 70% of the way through there because in the game there's only like 4 trials and then the rest of the story, and I'm on the 4th of 4. I just haven't started it yet, so I'm probably pretty close on that one, but I'll dive into that next. The only other game I played was a random pickup on Steam
during the summer sale.
I saw you playing this one.
was-
I've heard of this.
Yeah, that it's called Dave the Diver, and it's
Dude, I've been wanting to play. It's on my wish list. I've been wanting to play it. I heard that game is actually the truth. Like I heard it is good.
it's good. It's a fun little loop. So it's another fishing game like Dredge, except you're actually like diving and you're doing stuff. And I haven't opened it up. I've only played it for like an hour. So right now it's the same. Like I hop in the water, I can either go down or I can go right because you only have so much like air before you run out. So I have to decide like, okay, am I going deep this time or am I going out to see what I can see? But what makes that game so fun is like when you come after you're done fishing, the whole point is working with this dude that owns a sushi shop and you're turning it into sushi and all of a sudden it turns into a restaurant sim where I'm running food to the tables and pouring drinks. But dude, the truth of that game are these cutscenes, which are absolutely insane.
I have it on good authority. I'm excited to see what you think when it opens up. I have it on good authority that there is like at least 13 or 14 different kind of games in this game.
So right now there's a restaurant sim and there's a fishing game. So there's two.
I heard it goes even wackier.
Yeah. I'm excited to see, but dude, these cutscenes. I meet a character. You meet a character. One of the first cutscenes I have, you meet a character that is gonna help you upgrade your equipment in the water, right? So like you have a harpoon gun. You start off with a knife and a harpoon gun, so you can shoot things at a distance, or you can stab it if it comes too close. But there are other equipment and weapons and stuff you can get throughout the game. And the first dude I meet who's like, "Hey, here's the tutorial for this. Let me teach you how to use my shop." And it's this guy sitting in front of a computer that looks like it's not Evangelion, but it's Evangelion of like he watches the show and new season's out or whatever. But dude, he goes to like click the mouse and it turns into this like anime where he like his finger comes out and he slams it down on the mouse and like the Evangelion like little helmet pops up on the sky and it gives you almost a hi-fi rush like little cutscene sort of thing. And it's just it's funny. It's very well done.
Awesome.
I'm excited you're playing it and I can't wait to hear what you say about more. And also you're way stronger than me because I do not know how you've played as much as Final Fantasy as you have and have not been like fuck this and just been like I'm playing this game.
Because it's our dogs are still like separated, right? Behind like baby gates and we can hang out, like I'll hang out with them, but where we have stuff set up, I'm not always like in the living room where the PlayStation is. So like I might be in the dining room sitting with one dog while the other one's off doing its thing, and I have the Steam Deck in front of me. Or in the evening,
you see remote play
a little earlier. Oh, PlayStation 5's not great, dude.
Really?
So on Steam Deck remote play, I way back when we talked about this, I get constant audio clipping, so I can't listen to cutscenes. Whereas if I do iPad, it sounds fine. It looks pretty good, but I'll oftentimes run into lag in inputs. And when you're playing an action game, those lag and inputs don't work. Xbox on Steam Deck and xCloud on iPad are both flawless, no matter where you are. But here it's not great. So I have to play it on the PlayStation, and that really means like Saturday mornings when I'm out with a dog and Allie's sleeping with the other one, and like that's been it. I want to play it so bad, I just haven't had the ability. But Steam Deck I can have like in the bedroom at night or whatever. So Dave the Diver's fun. I'm excited to get through it. It's much longer than I thought. Like everything on Steam is like average time to beat and story is like 26 hours. I thought this would be like a Dredge like 8-9 hours sort of thing, and it is.
No, it's a big game.
But it's fun. So that's all I've really played. To show you, to kind of prove the point on how much I've struggled with like games I want to play versus games I can be playing. I played the game that we're going to talk about that we had to play as homework.
Same.
And the only other game I hopped into was Shantae and the Seven Sirens on Steam Deck because like I have it. It takes nothing to play for 10 minutes and put down. I don't have to pay attention to the story. I can move through and turn it off, right? Like that's been my gameplay for 2 weeks. And don't get me started on it. It's very depressing. My life's very depressing right now. So anyway, that's my week. Let's dive into what we did. And Preston, this is yours, so I'll kick it over to you.
All right. So we have started up The Force Unleashed 2. Got a little bit of a preamble for you so everyone's all caught up, knows what's going on in the story. Real quick before I go into it, who was like, I don't remember shit that happened in Force Unleashed when we started this game?
Also,
Yeah,
what versions are we all playing?
PC.
Steam.
Yeah, Steam.
I'm playing the Wii version on my Wii.
So that would be fantastic because you are going to get more out of some of these levels.
Yeah.
I would love to hear this.
You'll have different levels.
We'll see, because
That Wii version is the better rated version.
I know it is, and that's why I wanted to try
it. It's rough because the graphics aren't as good.
So okay, I'm gonna get there. Yeah, go ahead.
My Steam version didn't show me the first 2 cutscenes. I had to look them up on YouTube.
Oh no, I've had problems too. This game is a rough one, guys. We're gonna have some problems with this game. I'm gonna let you know right now.
Yeah.
All right, so Force Unleashed 1. We're gonna start off with that. Was released in September 2008, selling 1.5 million copies the first week, making it the fastest selling title for LucasArts at the time. And it uses the LucasArts Ronin engine and integrated 3 different types of software, which is not normally done, and it's not done for a reason. It's very hard to get that many things to kind of work together and to play nice and shake hands. But you'll recognize the first one, Havoc engine, that's still used in games today. That's for body physics. Digital molecular matter, DMM, that's for your destructible environments. I remember watching behind the scenes videos on this before the game came out, but it's to where if you remember you're doing a force push or something, wood will kind of break and snap like wood depending on how much pressure is added to it. Metal kind of bends. Glass
There's a lot of
shatters.
set pieces in this game that look cool. They have some set pieces that show
you can
off
see
crazy,
where they're kind of showing off their tech. And then the third one would be the Euphoria engine, which we've seen in other games as well. That's for the NPC AI. So I've seen it again in those videos to where it's if you're pulling up a stormtrooper and you're holding them in the air, if you bring them by another stormtrooper, they will grab each other. And you can pull up 2 sometimes at the same time, or if they're falling off a ledge, one will try to grab one to save themselves, kind of deal. That's a part of that technology. Doing this, adding all those kind of softwares together and trying to make this game come out as fast as it's supposed to, that killed a game called Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings, which was going to be made with this engine and kind of the same stuff in it. But at a certain point, they're like, no. We need to get a Star Wars game out soon, and we don't think the Indiana Jones game is going to sell that much. So that team is coming over to help get this game out when we want it to.
And I just say, Preston, as an Indiana Jones fan, I feel like you probably dodged a bullet on that one because that game.
To be fair, I saw the trailers for some of the kind of footage on that. That game actually looks pretty nice. It kind of looks a little fun, a little too cartoony.
It would not,
but it looks like it might have been pretty good. Who knows? We'll never know. All of these softwares are not in the Wii version. Christian. Maybe 1 or 2, but no, they did not do all of this whole package for the Wii version. This is the era to where
the nicest thing that I'll say about the Wii version is that it seems extremely stable.
Well, that's nice. This is that era of Wii to where a lot of the games that are coming out on consoles, they wanted their own Wii version, so they made a separate game with a separate company. There's another game that my next game I'm gonna have.
That makes
on.
sense when you say that, because when you were listing off the the names and stuff, I was like, I don't remember seeing those on my title screen.
Because it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't made in house.
Okay, all right, all right.
So, with that being said, then my next game that I'm gonna bring on, which I'm not gonna let now, I'm gonna tease it right here, is another one of those games to where the Wii version is a completely different game.
Okay.
Maybe not completely different, but different studio, different animation style, different look. They may be trying to follow the same pathway and story as the game, but it's essentially all in all a different game. And this was the first Force Unleashed 1. Was the first game to work with ILM. So when you get to those cutscenes, they hold up and look fucking phenomenal. I don't know if you're looking at it, but you're seeing Darth Vader and the light reflecting and the reflections on it. When he's talking to one of the characters in there, you can see it out the reflections of Darth Vader. Not on Christian's Wii version.
Not on the Wii, fam.
You might want to, Christian. You might want to get the other version because I think the best part about this game will be how it looks. Sometimes
you don't like that 480i or whatever.
I can't even describe to you, so I don't want to interrupt. Go ahead. When we get to our first impression.
Yeah, I gotta keep. Yeah, there's a lot here. Now these games got mixed reviews, or as far as the first one. So we're talking Metacritic, the PS2, 360, and Wii, which is the era it came out on. PS1 was 71, 360 was 73, and Wii was 71. That's
You mean
the Force Unleashed
PS3?
one. What's that?
You mean PS3? You said PS2 and PS1.
You can double check that, but I'm pretty sure I mean PS2.
What a He's talking about Force Unleashed 1, right?
Yeah, 1, not
was-
2.
Yes.
Still, but there's no shot. I played that on PS3. I'm gonna look.
I mean,
Go
you
ahead.
can play it on
Do your
PS3, but I think it came out on PS2. Yeah, double check for me, because I'm pretty sure I did a lot of research. I wrote down, but I could have been in a haze and wrote down 2 instead of 3. All right, as far as Force Unleashed 2 is considered, released in October 2010. And then was supposed to follow a different character. Because, spoiler alert, at the end of Force Unleashed 1, the proper, what at the time was canon, was that your character Starkiller dies, right? That was the light side ending.
As he should,
you
because
should.
it was canon, and like he
Never
was
showed up
more
in movies.
powerful. Yeah, he's supposed to be more powerful than like Darth
Yeah.
Vader, and nobody's ever heard of him. Like,
So,
Christian?
just so we're all on the same page here, Preston, full credit to you.
Okay.
I was wrong. It did come out on the PlayStation 2. It also came out on the NVIDIA N-Gage,
Yeah, pretty much
the
anything
fucking
mobile.
like
yeah.
T-Mobile Sidekick. It was on the PSP and the Nintendo DS.
Yeah.
somebody goes, "Hey man, if we could put it on the Wii, we could put it on so many other."
Dude, there were
consoles
7
right
platforms
now."
this game was on. It's insane.
I did not. I'm also looking at a screenshot of the PS2 version. Woofers. this game looks bad.
PS2 or PSP?
Yeah. Oh.
yeah,
man.
it can get pretty rough. They dialed that thing down to be on anything. You play that shit on a microwave type of shit. So
Skyrim with this one, huh? Damn.
Wolfers.
so the first game,
Dude.
let me go back to it real quick. The first game, as far as like who created it, I mean, obviously it was like one of the last games that was developed in-house by LucasArts before the Disney purchase. That essentially destroyed LucasArts. But it was developed and published by LucasArts for the first one. The first one had, I fucking wrote it down. I can't really find it right now, but essentially the director and the writer for the first one was Hayden Blackman. For the second one, he became just the writer, and then we had Julio Torres as the director for the second one. And that's kind of like where you can kind of see where maybe it kind of went away a little bit, because he was just the writer, reportedly given less than a month to develop the entire narrative structure of the game, reportedly. And because they want to get the new game out quickly.
That literally just has the words money grab.
Yeah, no.
Give me that paycheck. He's like, hey man,
Preston,
I told the
can I
story I
ask
want to
you-
tell, and they go, but do you think you can come out with a new one in a month?
Can I ask you, does this, because I know you and I are both familiar with the KOTOR saga
Sure.
that happened with BioWare. When you were researching this, did you end up seeing, because it sounds, as you're telling me the story, I didn't know any of this. This is all very
Yeah.
interesting. It screams to me the same way that they handled BioWare with KOTOR 2.
LucasArts is like, you made us money, make us more next year, kind of deal.
Yeah.
Or as soon as possible, at least. But yeah, no, it's got a lot of pushbacks from LucasArts because you're trying to deal with continuity and canon too. Because you're like, they're talking to George Lucas still at this point. To like, hey, we want to do this and that. He's like, well, you can't do this because Sith do this and Jedi don't do this, and this character never shows up, and you can't kill this character because they might show up in here. So they had a lot of that helps.
How
the development
miserable
so
must
much.
that have been?
Oh,
Especially that was all,
on top
that
of
was all
3
before
softwares. Yeah.
That was all before the Legends continuity too. So all that work you did, and then like it just gets wiped away.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. So yeah, of all that little pushbacks, the game was developed very quickly to cash in on the hype. Like we just said, reportedly had 9 months to make the game. Hayden Blackman left as soon as he finished the narrative plot, and that's the writing. It didn't take too much for him, so he left. He went off to find a new studio. Fearless Studios didn't really do anything, sold off at a certain point. Did a bunch of comic book writing after that point. Jake recognizes him, Elektra, a whole bunch of Marvel stuff too with that. But yeah, he's done some comic books, and then
Good for him.
went to create another studio called Hangar 13. They have made one game. Do you guys know what game Hangar 13 has made?
Sure don't.
Mafia 3.
You know what?
Right.
Fair fucking enough. I have never played Mafia 3, but from what I understand, people like that game. It is
Yeah.
a good
I like the
game.
Mafia
from what I
series.
understand.
It's like the
I've
Godfather.
I've never played
I've
it,
done
but
1
I've
and
heard
2. I never played
that's
3.
I've heard that 3 is a good game, so shout out to them.
And then, okay, so this one released with lower scores than the first one, except for the Wii. The Wii version was made by Red Fly. You want to look them up to find out more. They made. I write down a whole bunch of what they made.
I do. That was on the title screen for sure.
Yes. So lower scores, but the same on the Wii. So PS3, which Star Wars Force Unleashed 2 came out on, was on PS3, 360, and PS3 version got a 63, and the 360 got a 61. So got pretty low scores for a game that got decent scores in the first one. But it's for mainly the same reasons. So it was the same reasons because it was a shorter game, super short game. Part 3 that we played through is like hour and a half, hour and 45, I would guess, if I had a ballpark, kind of me dicking around, messing around looking for cubes and stuff. But yeah, the Force Unleashed 1 was about 8 hours as far as getting through the story, 16 and a half for like full completion kind of deal, I think. And then this Force Unleashed 1, so Force Unleashed 1 sold 1.5 million in the first week. Force Unleashed 2 had about 500,000 copies in the first 2 weeks as far as what it sold. So didn't really make them the money they wanted on that one either.
Is that because all of the stuff coming out beforehand with like production and stuff? I mean, like
I
because
guarantee
feel like
it's
the
too much
one
too
is so
soon,
well-
man. Like they got oversaturated with it. Star Killer was in Soul Calibur, was it 4, I think, or something like that? Like they just oversaturated with Star Killer, put him in everything. They wanted to make him the face of Star Wars for a minute because he was getting money.
I'm sure part of it too is because back then, I mean, reviews still play a lot into game sales, but back then, especially when games media was at its biggest, if you have a bunch of reviews coming out looking at you being like, yo, this game is fucking ass, then people are going to be like, all right,
Nope, not picking
I'll
up then.
skip it.
Yeah, they'll see day one that people are like, it's really short, it's not worth your full price, and it's not that great of a game to begin with anyways. And people are like, oh, they don't buy it. But yeah, so 500,000 copies. It was the last, like I said, last internally developed LucasArts game to ship. There was internally ones other being made. Also, the Force Unleashed 3 was in development right before Disney bought them out.
wow.
Yeah, so all of this at the time was Star Wars canon until the Disney purchase, and then that just deleted everything. Rogue One and stuff like that kind of messes with some of the things that happen in this game too. But yeah, there's straight up things that will happen in these games that like, oh, it's just, yeah, it used to be canon, no longer canon, thanks to Disney. So, but you can see, I mean, the more I play this, the more I kind of go through this, like it's, and that and the Dark Forces kind of deal to it, where you can kind of see they have their main protagonist that they kind of want to continue on. But I liked the idea of being Darth Vader's secret apprentice, hunting down the Jedi during this time of the series. That's a very cool idea. But then we place them with Inquisitors, who are also just as cool. Just there's a whole bunch more of them. But yeah, that's the kind of story of The Force Unleashed 2, and that I can get into the actual quick recap of the first one's story for us to kind of follow up into how we feel about the first part 1 of 3 that we're going to do on this game. But there's anything you want to say before I go into the story of the first one to help refresh you?
No, I mean that story is very interesting. I did not know any of that.
That's the kind of whole development of it, the
will
weird
say
translations of it.
That does makes sense playing this game.
All of it,
I was
yeah.
like, it all falls into
Sounds
place.
about
I'm like,
right. Yeah.
Sounds about right.
All right. So
what
for
year, Preston, I'm sorry, one more time. What year did you say this game came out?
Force Unleashed 2 or 1?
Force Unleashed 2.
2 is 2010, October of 2010. The purchase of Disney was, as far as when it actually happened, was December 2012. And I don't know if you know this, but when you're talking about $1 billion, multi-billion-dollar franchise, that doesn't get done overnight. So I guarantee you George Lucas was in the talks with Disney by the time this game was released.
No, that's fine. I just wanted to look something up because
Sure.
I just had some thoughts about this and I wanted to look up another game's year.
Sure. That year. Okay, cool. All right, Force Unleashed 1 story. So this is everything that leads up into Force Unleashed 2. Set between the era of Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, so prequels to the original trilogy. Is a story about Darth Vader's secret apprentice. After the Great Purge, which is Order 66, you start off as Vader hunting down the Jedi on Kashyyyk.
Great opening level.
Great way to tutorialize, kind of get you a little bit like you're the most powerful Force user, maybe outside of Palpatine right now.
That, and then the cool scene that you and I always talk about. Those are the two things.
I'll mention that one. I left that one in the story follow up. So yeah, you're going through Kashyyyk, tearing everything apart, even your own stormtroopers, Wookiees, trees, whatever you find. Vader finds and kills the Jedi, but he senses someone more powerful nearby, which is the person he thinks he's looking for, ends up being the dude's son, who's a very tiny child who takes essentially Vader's lightsaber. And then instead of killing the child, Darth Vader decides he's going to kill all the Imperials that are in the area to kind of cover up that he found this child and takes him on as a secret apprentice. Galen, which is his original name of Starkiller, completes the Sith training and is sent back to hunt down Jedi for Vader to make him more powerful, even more powerful enough to help overthrow the Empire, which is kind of the whole idea of him having the secret apprentice. One of those Jedi you kill in The Force Unleashed 1 is Shaak Ti. She's a Toruta, so it's kind of like the way Ahsoka looks with the headdress and everything like that. She's a pretty big character in the prequel series and even the Clone Wars, to where like you've seen her one way or another in those movies. You have a crew, so you got Juno, the Imperial female pilot, aka Lightside Thirst Trap. You got your training droid Proxy, who is programmed literally to kill you. So it's essentially your ongoing training droid who is there to kind of keep you on your toes.
Cool HK from KOTOR.
Pretty much, yeah. He's there to keep you on your toes, and then you are on your ship called a Rogue Shadow, which is a very cool name for a ship.
It is a very good name for a ship.
It is a good name.
After killing Shaak Ti, after killing the Jedi they were supposed to, there's multiple, one being one that we met in the part 1 of this game. The Emperor finds out about you, Starkiller. Emperor. I was messing that up. The Emperor finds out about you, and Vader decides to kill you and toss you into space to show his loyalty to the Empire, right? Kills him. So then Vader secretly recovers you, because no one's ever dead in comic books and Star Wars. So somehow Starkiller has returned. And then, so Darth Vader has you then now go off to help foster a rebellion to distract the Emperor to finding out that you're back. And then so we can try to overthrow him again. Starkiller ends up rescuing, his girlfriend Juno, because obviously she was your homie and probably love interest. So they thought her of as a traitor to the Empire. So she's arrested. You save her and Proxy. You find a Jedi who you thought you killed named Coda, which is the guy you find at the beginning of Force Unleashed 2. While looking for allies, you find out that he's now blind and he's a drunkard after you have, shamed him when you killed him at the beginning of Force Unleashed 1. You go to Kashyyyk to find out your original home and to find Bail Organa. And then while there, you go to your old home, you find your father's spirit, who gives you that whole little light side juices to kind of get you back on the path. And then you actually end up rescuing Princess Leia to gain Bail Organa's trust and free some Wookiees. You find out that Bail Organa is on Felucia, where you kill Shaak Ti. And he's looking for Shaak Ti. Doesn't know that you killed her. Trying to find Jedi to help out the rebellion, right? Bail is then captured by her apprentice, Maris Brood. Again, cool name. But she has turned to the dark side because you have fucking slaughtered her master. So this is your doing. Him getting kidnapped, her going to the dark side is all you're doing from the beginning of this game. From there, you fight her, you defeat her, but you don't kill her. You decide to, decide not to kill her, and then that gains Bail's trust. And then he wants, you're going to go help him kind of gather all the senators together, right? So once you gather, Mon Mothma and him, all the big names, you're on Coruscant to get them to talk about the rebellion. Motherfucking Darth Vader shows up to arrest everybody. He's like, no, I actually was doing this whole thing. I was manipulating you. You're my tool. I wanted you to bring all these rebels over here so I could take them all down in one fell swoop. It's some pretty Sith shit to do. I thought it was fucking cool. When that happens, let's see here. I'm sorry. I'm kind of losing my spikes. I'm looking up. Vader reveals you have the Empire. Yeah. You escape after that whole arrest thing happens. And then Proxy, your droid, decides to sacrifice himself for you. By attacking Vader. Juno rescues you. You go to the Death Star to rescue Coda. And the Senators, you get to the Emperor's throne room and fight and defeat Vader. Emperor says, good, and says, do it. And then wants you to fucking kill Darth Vader, and that's where you get the choice of the light or dark side ending. And then these are the two endings. I'm sorry, I skipped over a certain point to where Proxy tries to kill you, and it has the coolest part of the game where you're on a Star Destroyer manufacturing planets, and you tear down a Star Destroyer from the sky. One of the coolest things that ever happened in fucking Star Wars.
It's so good. It is one of the coolest things.
Yep.
Oh god, it's so good.
So there's a concept art for that exact scenario, and I had it as my wallpaper for the longest time on my PC because it is just the coolest fucking looking concept art.
Worth it.
So the light side, which is the canon version, well, canon for the game, not canon for Star Wars anymore. You save Coda, you defeat the Emperor, but Coda convinces you to spare the Emperor, and the Emperor ends up using Force Lightning on Coda, only for Starkiller to sacrifice himself to save him and all the senators for the rebellion. Starkiller becomes Rebellion's martyr, and they use his family crest as their symbol. So Starkiller's family crest is the rebellion symbol that you see in A New Hope and like everything from there on in. So I thought that was a cool like little canon for the symbol, little lore. Dark side version, which is very fun. You kill Vader and the Emperor. Oh no, so you kill Vader. Emperor tells you to kill Coda. You then just attack the Emperor, and he beats you, crushes you with your ship, and all the senators inside of it. You wake up being grafted to armor, and the Emperor tells you you will be replaced once he finds a new apprentice as well. So the dark side goes south real fucking quick. It's like, okay, well maybe you're gonna defeat the Emperor and become no. The Emperor kills you, kills everybody on your ship kills you with your ship for the most part, and then pulls the whole Anakin to where he starts grafting you to robot pieces to make you serve him until he finds somebody more powerful than you. And that's the story of Force Unleashed 1. Very cool story. I love the Force Unleashed 1.
Very good game.
Very good game. Very good game. And then we get the Force Unleashed 2, which we are now starting.
So,
almost 2 hours into this podcast.
Man, let me tell you. Well, good thing is that it's really the parts that we played is it's pretty short. So, my main thing I'm going to talk about is I chose the Wii version to play on my Wii, and that version plays very, very well, except something is going on with my Wiimote. I don't know, but I can't turn it sideways to block shots. I'll have to figure that out sometime, maybe.
Or just switch over. It's fine.
Well, right. So, but it will not. I can't block shots for whatever reason. I can do everything else though, so the game, it plays very it plays very solid. Everything does the way that it's supposed to, and I do think it's kind of satisfying to be able to like use the to target things, right, and like to do the Force stuff. So like if I grab somebody and I can throw them, or I can do this, or I can do that, like it is, it does feel good to do that on the Wii. And so all that stuff works as it should. Dude, it cannot be understated though. This game looks like shit. Like
to be fair, you are playing the Wii version. You made a choice.
I know.
Because right now you can also play it like on PC with 4K mods. It does not look like
shit. That poor kid who only had a Wii. He's like, I can play Force Unleashed 2 too, and he has to play this like broke ass version, like fucking lunchbox, like a brown bag lunchbox.
Dude, so I 100% agree. I looked because I was like, I looked it up because I was like, there is no shot that my memory is this bad. I was like, I remember the Force Unleashed 1 looking way better than this. I was like, this looks like ass. Like I was like, this is so bad. And then I looked it up, and I looked up the cutscene on the PS3 version, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Fully understand now.
Full on ILM, CG, shit that you get from the movies, quality.
Dude, but I beg of you both to go look up
I've seen it. I'm very well aware. I had the game at one point.
Man, it's bad. It is bad. And the only thing I know outside of I went into this knowing two things. One, that the Wii version is the best one. I heard it is far and away the best version of the game.
More content.
So that's why I decided to check it out. I will stop though because I don't want to have extra content that you guys don't have.
It's interesting, but like it'd be interesting to find out like, oh, because like, guess what? The third place that you start at the very beginning of this part 2 that we're gonna have next week, that is technically not a super duper playable area for us. It's got a lot more depth on the Wii version, and I think there's a whole like even like extra planet in the Wii version.
Okay, so then I'm gonna stop.
I am looking at screenshots. You're right. It does look very
Rough. Fucking
It's rough.
Yeah.
It is rough. But so I'll switch to the 360 version
Sure.
or something like that, and we'll go from there. Either way. So past all that, the other thing I knew about it was that I believe it has my favorite Star Wars meme that people use in this, where it's a clip that cuts to Vader where he just says, "I lied," like randomly. And so people use it all the time where they'll be like, well, you know, what, and they'll be like, I lied. And it's just the Vader's like very plain.
It's a great story writing. Great
Voice. I know. And so I was excited for that. I was like, okay, I'm definitely gonna check out the Wii version because I've always heard that it is like far and away the best one. And then secondly, well, so I didn't know. I didn't know that it was completely
like
different. I just heard that it was.
game.
I was always under the impression that it was better because of the controls. Like people were like, it feels really
fun
cool
lightsaber
to do the thing because you
movements
have
and
to like
Yeah.
do the waggle to like get the fucking to throw the lightsaber and do and you know all sorts of other shit. So and like for the QTEs, right? Like you have to move the Wiimote in the directions of whatever is about to happen. So like when you're
That's
throwing
tough.
certain things, right? Like when you're throwing certain things, you're like doing it right, and so. And all of that is very like what you would want out of it. But I guess I should stop playing this version because I don't want to get to a point where I'm like, well, I don't know what you guys are talking about. This is different, and
You'll get, I think, all the same points as us. It's just you'll get extra points as far as like extra spots to have gameplay because they're not dealing with the 3 different types of software. They're not dealing with all this other kind of shit. They're just filling it up for you.
Yeah. So I'll switch to the different room. But either way, so yeah, my opinion on what I played so far. Well, actually, here, go ahead, press you if you want to tee us up to what what.
Yeah, I
happens.
mean, beginning of it starts you off on Camino. You are now cloned. You've been cloned. So he's like, I still have shit for you to do. And you're like, no, why me? And I still have memories. And it's like, oh, you're one of the many clones. Yeah.
And he leaves him in isolation for like he's like, how long has it been this time? And he's like 13 days,
yeah.
very impressive. And then he's like, okay.
The Force gave me everything I needed. I know I need the Force.
Master.
Yeah. Fucking edgelord. But yeah, no, he's still got feelings and stuff for Juno. You know, light side thirst trap is still there in his mind.
Keeps having flashbacks to like everything, basically.
So, but yeah, it's just that's that.
I'd like to know how that cutscene looked for you, Christian, because the cutscene for us, I mean, like, it is the guy, right? I can't think of the guy's name. I've seen him recently in some articles, but like
Sam
he looks,
Witwer?
yeah, he looks good. Minus his top lip's a little goofy, right?
That's how his
Uncanny
top lip
Valley.
works. That's how his top lip works. The looks. Yeah.
No, I know I've seen it, but like it's a little bit of an uncanny valley. where
It
his
throws
mouth
off a
is
little bit,
right
yeah.
together.
Imagine
But
somebody
otherwise,
took,
it looks good.
imagine somebody took Sam's face and then used the Photoshop blur tool on everything, and that's where. But then they did it on everything, and that's what it looks like on the Wii version. It is
Okay.
Great.
it cannot be understated how bad it is. When I started playing it, I was like, oh boy, this looks like shit. Like
What's unfortunate for him, I was watching an article with him the other day, I'm sure, because like the way all of our devices work now, my stuff knows I'm playing this games. They're like, hey, would you like to see this interview where he was talking about how he put Guitar Killer together, and he said like it was 2 parts, like Han Solo, 1 part Darth Vader, and
one
1 part
part
Luke Skywalker,
indie,
something,
one
but, like,
part Luke Skywalker too, because you have to have the
and
part
it
Luke
was
Skywalker.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting, but what's unfortunate for him is he is young enough still, and he looks good enough to where he
could do it.
could reprise that role in live
100%.
action, and he would probably be really good, but it'll never happen.
Hey, you know what they could do? They could have him be Darth Maul. He does the voice for it in the Clone Wars series and all the animated stuff. He looks great. Just put the fucking face paint on him. He'd be right. Guess what? Ray Parks didn't do the voice for it in episode 1. It was the guy from Guardians. The guy's, A bunch of assholes, like from Nova Corps. That guy, he did the voice for.
Yeah.
He did the voice. I saw it earlier. I did not know about that until like this year. But he did the voice for Darth Maul in episode 1.
So he can't swing a lightsaber like Braveheart can. So
No, he cannot. No one can. But yeah, it's you start off in Kamino, you find out you're a clone, and then you get through your little training to where you get in those flashbacks. Your mind's still kind of fucking with you. Darth Vader's pretty much just gonna kill you and start all over again. And
Well, he wants you to kill Juno, and you're like, I can't.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're like, no, I
I love
can't.
her still.
But
And he's
I love her.
like, pitiful.
Yeah, and then you're like, okay, well then I need to bust out of here. So you do the one thing that most Jedi or Sith don't do, or when they do, they use it as a MacGuffin essentially in the Star Wars lore, which is someone uses lightning on Darth Vader, which just fucks up his like robotic breathing and shit, which makes him stunned for a couple seconds. No one thinks about that when it really needs to happen, but when you need it to happen, it happens. Kind of
So-
deal.
Allie and I had a debate about this the other night.
Okay.
Because I got really frustrated and Christian's gonna poo-poo all over me. He goes, oh, not real or whatever. So I was it's not that I care that it's a video game, but my brain got caught on the fact that when Darth Vader is talking, right, you hear the
Yeah.
right, no big deal. It happens. But his breathing in and breathing out doesn't line up with him talking.
Yeah.
And if you've ever thought about it, most people don't think about it. It's impossible to speak when you're breathing in. Can't do it. You physically cannot inhale and talk, right?
You've never heard
But-
Inward Singing by Tenacious D, sir.
Sure. You can sing, like, it's weird because you can make noises, but you can't actually talk, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what frustrated me, and I don't know why it stuck out in my brain during this cutscene, but his breathing doesn't line up. So Allie and I got in this big philosophical debate of like, well, you don't know. Maybe he breathes through the little thing in his suit on his chest. I was like, well,
You still need to talk.
torso, right? Like we know his torso exists. He wasn't burned up completely. He just has artificial arms and limbs and whatnot. But we got in a big debate about that because it was so apparent that they're like, sound effect, don't give a shit if it works or not. Just put it in.
I mean, you hear the noise, you're like, you don't think twice about it, but then all of a sudden Alex
I'm
gets that little
sure-
fucking gremlin in his head that goes, but, and you're like, no, it's Star Wars, stop. It's,
I think in a world in which there are little tiny bacteria in your body that give you the ability to shoot lightning from your fingertips, I would say that it is not that otherworldly to believe that
Some
his
reason.
breathing is controlled from a completely little separate button on his fucking robot
and it just
chest.
happens while he's talking or something.
And it just happens while it does its own fun. It's like a colostomy bag. It's just doing its thing on the side, and you just don't even.
Colostomy airbag.
You don't even have to worry about it. Just let it do it. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have that all happen, and then the first QTE pops up to where you're just nosediving off of a tower in Camino, and if you were like me, you're just spamming that force push button. You're just going dun 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 as you're going through all the fucking shit in front of you.
Now, can I tell you guys that
I
there's
don't do that.
there's
I do.
one. So, because I'm playing on my Wii,
Yeah.
and sometimes, like I said, my Wiimote doesn't turn to the side a lot. It has a hard time noticing that. And so there's sometimes where the directions that I need to be swiping things or doing things doesn't do it in the way that the game would like. And so I end up failing all of these QTEs.
Oh no.
The best part that I am so happy to report for everybody on here is that the game it is not a fail state.
No.
It just
You get hit and
you just do
Tumble a
something
little bit.
stupid or
Yeah.
fuckle up or whatever, and then the game will go like, all right, try again, and then something else will happen, and you'll be like, I'll try again, and then like you just get the shit beat out of you again, or you fall or fuck up, and then it's like you Star Killer's like just like bloody and bruised up, put me back in, coach.
yeah.
He
Oh,
gets,
no, I got it. We're fine.
he gets fucked up.
He
again.
does
It is
real hard.
So there's this scene, the one where when Darth Vader comes up behind you and he's the shields are standing in front of you or whatever, and he goes to do it, and so there's Starkiller goes to throw it at him, and when you fail it misses or whatever, and then Darth Vader picks up 3 of them and just throws it, and it's like punk, like just hits him right on the head. It is, oh, it's so funny. But the AT-ATs or whatever that you're talking about in this first one, he just like stumbles and fumbles on, like he's one where he's like, I'm gonna stab my lightsabers, and it's like, go down, and then I don't do it because nothing happens, and he's just like, ugh, and it just like hits on top, it like falls, rolls off, and then goes to the side. He's like, I'm ready to go again, and he
do this all day.
So funny. It's there's so many things about the Wii version that I do enjoy because of the way that
the goofy
my Wiimote is fucked up. That really makes me want to keep playing it, but just to see the dumb shit that can happen. But it is, man, it's something.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
So you get down after the pummeling, the comet drop. You go through Kamino. You're trying to essentially escape Vader, and you're taking out Stormtroopers. It's kind of giving you the basic tutorial again at this point. Outside of just here's a button to swing, it is like, oh, here's your force, here's this force power. The nice thing is,
like every scene is a new tutorial.
Yeah, well, the nice thing is that this thing is not fucking Metroidvania to you. It's not going, okay, now regain all your powers again. It's like, no, you get all your powers now again. Like there's some powers later on that you do have to get, like saber throw and stuff like that. You have to wait until you get to the part of the level to where it's like, here's why you have to do a saber throw now. You now have it unlocked. But for most of the part, like you have your foot, your push, you have your grab, you have your lightning right off the bat, which is nice.
It felt weird to me starting off like with all the power and not the skills. Like the skills are there, but and I appreciate that. They make a point though to be like, even as a clone, Homeboy is strong.
No, that's the whole thing. His genetics are supposed to be like off the chart, Anakin style.
Destroying shit everywhere, but even as a clone, that's a little weird, I guess. I don't know.
So apparently Jedis are damn near impossible to clone. So he was like a very special kind of like scenario. The Mandalorian kind of dabbles in it in the first 2 seasons, which is like there's a reason why Grogu was being taken by the Imperial people, was because they were trying to clone the Emperor. So they're like, okay, if we're going to clone the Emperor, we need to find out how to clone a Jedi because we can't do it. Everyone we're cloning is not coming up as Force sensitive. It's just another version of that person without Force powers.
Yeah.
So that's what they're trying to figure out what's going on. But yeah, it's fun. You go through there. I love Kamino. I think Kamino is a fantastic level design as far as like just overall Star Wars lore, the whole like overall complete ocean planet with these cool kind of buildings in there, almost like raining most of the time, if not all the time. And it looks gorgeous. I'm throwing people. It's hitting light posts. Those light posts are breaking and sparking. It's just overall a fantastic presentation of the game, and reminds me, yes, this is what I loved about it. Also, a quick reminder for me: this game does not have a sprint. The game is a dash with a very short cooldown. So it's like boom, 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 boom. Like that's pretty much what I'm doing through most of the levels at this point. I'm like, at that point, I should just have force speed turned on at all times because they show it in episode 1. It's in a lot of games. I should just have force speed to where I can just fucking fly through these areas rather than having to go dash, 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 dash.
So I
do show that in episode 1 and never again.
I wish that I could do that because I'm a big fan of force dash.
What's your dash?
A problem again is that and I have like a weird custom Wiimote, so
limited buttons. Yeah,
you'll never be able to find one like mine. The reason that it's all fucked up, but for me, force dash is up on the D-pad.
Oh no!
All right, but so my D-pad is like off to the side a little bit on my Wiimote, and not like where you would normally hold it. Sure. So it's like I'm holding it, and it's like
Wiimote. You just need to stop playing this game, sir. I mean, like as far as like
Wiimote.
I think I'm being very clear. We'll talk.
You
about
are, but yeah.
Thank you, Preston. I'm being very clear here about what's on with my Wiimote. But
here the thing is that most people listening to this may not. He's playing audience member right now, Christian. Like most people are believing you that you're playing a Wii version of this game.
I don't think Alex is playing an audience member right now.
He is. Look at him smiling over there. He's totally.
No, I wasn't until just now. I thought you actually popped it up on your Wii.
There you go. Press. Oh, anyway. So
Okay, we'll continue.
so anyway,
No, that's the best because typically when he talks about it, he leans into the whole thing of what he's doing. But the
He's
way
trying.
he just said, I'm
thank
doing the
you,
Wii
Press.
version.
I've been very clear this whole time.
Maybe.
You
Man,
missed it.
So-
it went right over me. I did not realize.
So
okay.
but yeah, so my D-pad is off to the side a little bit, and
Yeah.
so I have to let go of what I'm doing and like move my hand over to this other part of the Wiimote. Think of it like an N64 controller is what my Wiimote looks like almost. And so I have to move my hand from what I'm doing to hit the up on the D-pad. And so I have to make sure if I'm gonna force dash for like, for instance, the tutorial where it wants you to, I have to orient myself to where I'm supposed to be and then press up on the D-pad to dash wherever it needs to go. So it doesn't get a ton of use.
So that
It is nice. That's how I've navigated the entire level. Just like pop, pop,
Yep.
pop. but
No,
at the
you
same
have to
thing.
because you're
Yeah.
going way too fucking slow. Like the walk is way too
Yeah.
slow for a.
And I will say it is a welcome addition that your health and force just regenerate during downtime
Yep.
because as somebody who can't block,
It's very.
I take a lot of blaster
very
shots to
fortunate
the
for you.
face. Yeah.
So yeah, you essentially finally escape him, and you straight up gank his ship. So you take the sweet TIE Advanced, and you grab that, you jump in, and you go to Cato Nemoria, because you're looking for your crew.
This was the moment. This was the moment I realized I wasn't seeing cutscenes.
So
So
that's
like
get it,
I was
yeah.
like something happened earlier on Camino, and I was like, oh, that's weird. Okay, whatever. And then I did this. I ran up to the ship, and I was like, okay, for tonight, I'm just gonna pause, and I'll pick it back up tomorrow. I think this will be a good time. And my screen went like black, and instantly I was on Cato Nemoria, and I was like, and it was like brighter. And I was in like different clothes. I was like, what the F just happened? And I was like, did I miss a cutscene? And I did. I had to go back up on
So-
YouTube and look it up and realize I had been missing cutscenes.
I think that
up to
happens to me in
point.
Cato Nemoria. I'll bring it up when it happens, and you tell me if I missed that cutscene or not, because I'm pretty sure it's either really bad editing for a certain part of the game, or it's I missed a cutscene. So I'll have to look it up. I didn't look it up. I meant to look it up. But yeah, get to Cato Nemoria. You're greeted by some the leader there, essentially, who was expecting Darth Vader, because obviously it's his fucking ship. He's the only person who has that ship. And he finds out it's you, so he's pretty suspicious. He's like, oh, this fucking edgelord over here is pretty sus. I don't know about him. And then pulls guns on him, which I don't know why you think pulling a gun on somebody who jacked Darth Vader's ship is a good idea. But it sounds like a bad fucking way to die. So he runs away. You're taking down dudes. He's putting up force fields to kind of stop you from getting to him. And you're essentially chasing him throughout this entire level. This entire level has a cool look to it. But I will say this. The look continues the entire way. It's pretty much the first 5 minutes of that level, maybe I'm being generous even at that point, just gets repeated to you. Over and over and over again. Same enemies, same
I
corners.
was convinced,
It's pretty.
especially in the Wii version that I had backtracked. I was like, this hallway is the exact same as the hallway.
you go turned around?
Yeah.
So there's a point in this to where it's one of the first scenes to where you're on the tram, right? The tram, you're
Cool
on the
set piece,
tram.
by the way. Cool
Yeah,
set
cool
piece.
set piece. You're on the tram. You're kind of trying to keep the missiles off the tram because that dude's on his ship now. He's trying to shoot you down.
Can I complain? I don't know how this worked for you guys. Were you guys able to do anything about the machine gun fire?
Nope.
No.
You're supposed to destroy it fast enough with the missiles before
Yeah,
the
that's
bullets
what I figured.
destroy the tram.
I beat it with like this much health left on the train because it took me a minute to figure out like there were things
Can I
just
just
couldn't
say
do anything about.
that is I was okay. So I'm glad I wasn't wrong. That's horrible design.
For someone who has a lightsaber who could be deflecting bolts or pushing things or doing anything else.
Literally, right
Just
when
letting it happen.
he's shooting in a straight line, put my lightsaber out, reflect it all back. Oh, look, you're done. See ya.
In the
Yeah.
first level, I was running around just force crushing TIE fighters, and I can't do anything
this
to
is- and this
this
is the same
dinky
guy
little
who-
helicopter.
Who took
Yeah.
a Star Destroyer out of the sky. Why don't you
Yeah.
let this helicopter be like peace and then just be like anyways?
Which you do
and-
towards the end of that whole scenario.
Yeah.
But
I needed a tower down. It was just like crush TIE fighter, throw it at the tower. Like,
So-
what are we doing here?
I'm doing that, and like Alex, I am very close to losing my turn because they wanted you to feel suspense, like, oh, this could happen at any moment, like I could lose this. And all of a sudden, my guy jumps, cuts to black, next scene. Or you're off. Right. I'm like, so the level looks so familiar. I thought I died or something crashed and happened to where I thought I would start off that entire scenario all over again. I'm like, oh fuck, is this like Dark Forces where it doesn't save it for me? I'm like, god damn it. Luckily enough for me, that is just how they transition to the next part of the level. Because once all of a sudden the red shields came up, I'm like, okay, this is different. We got the jetpack guys in now. I'm like, I know we're doing something different. Fantastic. So we continue on. New jetpack guys are there. One of my favorite enemies in there because you get them with a little zap of lightning, and then they just start smoke flying around crazily the entire time screaming. There's times where like I'm pulling down the shield, like as like 2 or 3 of them are still fucking about to die behind me, just fucking flying around, and they'll fucking come at in front of the screen and everything like that. Be like, oh god, as I'm like just doing something simple, and it's very funny. It's very entertaining. I enjoyed that a lot. It was a good idea to have them just go crazy, like oh god, oh no, and just have that happen for a little while with their jetpacks.
The force lightning's pretty broken. Like
Oh, yeah.
if you have a lot, you can just walk into a room and just hold it down. And
You
just
run
walk
out of
around.
it, but so here's the one move. I don't know if you guys noticed this move, but it is a fun little tip. Grab a guy, force lightning him while you're grabbing him. When you throw him, it will be a force lightning explosion. So
I learned that with
makes him a
the
detonate.
ball. I could pick up a ball in the center of the room,
Lightning it
force
and
lightning
throw it.
and
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm, yeah. But you can do this with actual stormtroopers too. So you pick up a stormtrooper, like the ones that are you have to use the force on, and the ones that will block all your lightsaber battles. You just pick them up, zap them with a little bit of lightning, and then throw them at something or someone, and then they will most likely die or be very close to die.
Force lightning is how I've solved a lot of my. I just walk in and I'm just like, man, I just
Yep,
hold it,
just
and
hold
then
it.
they move.
Dodging
I'm like,
all the
"See ya."
big giant mech
It
guys.
auto
Yeah.
tracks people for you. So if you get too
Yep.
far away from one but close to another, it's just like.
And I don't know if it has to do with the AI on the Wii version or whatever, but people like I'll hold it and then people will walk up into it and just be like, I'll
no.
get you, Paul. And
Yeah,
they're
they
just
have
like,
no
they just, like,
concept
don't-
of
Yeah.
of what's going on there. So you get through that. You're chasing after him. You finally start catching up to him in the Coliseum area, which you've seen Coda at. He was kind of fighting some people. He's like, oh, yeah, it's not enough. Like, you got more. What do you got? And then you go up. You go up to the next one. Before you get up to where you can have that battle, you're taking an elevator. There's a small little section of a level that's in between 2 sections, and there's not much to do but go up the elevator. Now, Christian probably didn't know this because he was not a fan of the dash at this time, but there's a little like platforming puzzles to get some extra saber crystals and experience and stuff like
I did
that.
those. Yeah,
I did those too. I saw them in the distance. I'm like, I have to now.
Yeah.
I have to now. We gotta figure out how to do this. It's not easy
couldn't
because
have
you're
those.
sliding off of shit and you're trying to get to it because there's this like skeleton in the middle. You're trying to jump on top of it, but you can't jump on top. You slide off.
You figure
I got
out you
this.
just have to jump and dash and skip that skeleton completely.
Yep.
and-
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have enough hands to be able to do stuff like
Yeah,
that. but-
exactly. So you get up there and you meet Coda. Coda's like, I knew you were alive still. He's like, well, it's kind of a half truth. Like I was dead, and then I got resuscitated. I got cloned essentially. He didn't say that altogether, but in less words. So it's you and Coda. The dude up top sits there, and he's like, "Get my fucking I forget. It starts with the G, Goruga, or I'm like buying time because I'm trying to figure this out and look at it because I'm trying to look at
Big
the
monster. Unnecessarily
Gorog, a
big.
Gorog. First off, a Rancor shows up to you, and you're like, I got this. I killed a bunch of these things on Dathomir in the first game. And so Starkiller gets a little cocky, and he's got a little smile on him. He's like, we fucking got this. And then a big-ass hand comes up, grabs the Rancor, and fucking is a snack for this Gorog thing.
Yeah.
And essentially
Balrog,
you're...
aka Balrog.
Because we will talk about that, what's happening later. So you're fighting this thing. It's doing a very God of War boss battle to where it's larger than life enemy. It's like torso on up because it's, how the fuck are you gonna fight something that's that tall? So you get him from the waist up, and you gotta put him back in his chains. So I don't know about you guys, but it took me a little while to kind of figure out exactly what to do to start getting that quick time event
It
for his
took
chains.
me way too long.
Too long.
I
And-
dodged forever before I went, "Oh, I should run forward here. And
Well,
try
because
lightning
there's
on him."
also only 1 or 2 spots to where they finally zoom in on it and be like, okay, we're gonna leave his fist here for a hot second and really dial in for you that you need to start hammering in on his fists. So you do that, you get one fist up, you're just doing the whole Super Saiyan force push thing again. You're like, bah, 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 1,000 fists in the shit. So that way his hands go back up into the thing, and then you're doing the quick time events again for his like neck chain thing towards like he's like and then you fucking slam his face down. It's like, okay, all right, man. It's like I could be force lightning him this entire time and then killing him sooner or later, but fine, we'll play this game to make it cinematic and fun. You're fighting him a little bit more. You get to a point to where, okay, the only way I'm gonna take this guy down is by taking this whole station down with me. So let's go at the structure that the things that are holding it in, and so you're at the top of this area now, and the Gorog's trying to grab you, and you're doing the whole hand motions again. So you're following through all that, and this time he's swiping stormtroopers out and stuff too, so that way you have health after all the time that you gotten hit. Now, and you're going through this routine of rinse and repeat. I just hit my elbow on a desk. Rinse and repeat, and go up to the structure areas. And the dumb thing is, he grabs onto that spot that you want to go down, so you got to hit his hand. The way he has to come at you is that he gets a little bit mad. And he kind of slam down that side, right? Well, I'm on this side the entire fucking time. So like he's not hitting me at all. So like once he goes up there and grabs it, I'm on the other side just going swing, 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 swing. And he's like trying to hit me and kind of bat it out. I'm like, all he has to do is go like this and be fine. But he just keeps on hitting right here. And it's like, this is easy peasy lemon squeezy. You rinse and repeat that one more time, maybe twice at a certain point. And then you technically defeat him. Coda shows up. Coda gets grabbed by him. And that's when the structure falls down. And this is where we get into the spot that Alex said that this is the Balrog. That is correct, because now you are just force dashing towards him as you're both falling in a free fall. And it's a pretty cool fucking scene. So Coda's still being held onto him. You're trying to save Coda's life. Coda's got a health bar at this point, so it's like, hey, don't take your fucking time with this. So, of course, you're spamming the force dash to get close to him. And once you get close to him, I don't know what you guys did to fight him, but I threw lightsabers and then force lightning until I got the lightsaber back. Threw lightsaber, force lightning until I got the lightsaber back. Super easy peasy, got through it, and as soon as you get to the ending part of this, when you finally get his health down to the point where the cinematic happens, you just straight up force fly through this motherfucker's chest. And you win. Why you didn't want to do it at the very beginning? Who knows? But you weakened him enough to be able to do this now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you do that, which is a really cool fucking cutscene, and then you and Coda are free falling, and Coda goes beep, boop, beep, gets the fucking Rogue Shadow, or whatever the fuck I call it. I think it's Rogue Shadow. Comes in and swoops up, and you both fucking land right on top of it. And this is where we go on to the third section. But does anyone want to talk about this second section, or the final level, before I continue on with the ending, or the ending of this part?
So again, just what I said before for the Weaver is that failing these QuickTime events for me is so fucking funny, because he just ends up getting the shit kicked out of him throughout these whole things, and then they always end with either the force like push or lightning one where you usually have to like push against it.
Yeah.
But I only have to hold one of the buttons on the nunchuck and one on the Wii remote to be able to do that part. And so it becomes, and all I have to do is hold those two buttons, and then it just fills the bar immediately.
Fair.
So it's so funny to watch him get like the shit kicked out of him, only for this last one, like whatever it is, to finally end on, where I'm just like, and then I just like it is so funny to watch like Darth Vader, this thing, all of them get immediately overpowered after beating the shit out of me for 30 seconds beforehand. So yeah, no, I thought it was funny. What's unfortunate is that while everything that you said happened, it looks way less cool on the Wii version. Like, it is like, it's fun. It's fun to play. Like, yes, it is like,
gameplay is good. Which is why I got a better score.
The gameplay is really fun, but the looks of everything that Preston just described looks like 5 times less cool
PS1
on the Wii
level.
Yeah, like it's rough.
Yeah,
and so,
very rough.
Yeah.
But
so,
yeah.
On this level, I'll be honest, I started to sour on the game a little bit.
Yeah.
And I love the cutscenes. Like, the cutscenes are so good. But there were 2 things that bothered me. Like, the level design of the second level wasn't great. It was just everything about that
very
level
samey.
Was too long. And very samey. Like, running through the hallway is too long. You would get to a big... You would run a small hallway, fight enemies, get to a big room, fight enemies, run a small hallway, fight the same enemies, get to a big room, fight the same enemies you previously fought. And then that final fight with the boss was so long. Like it took you a minute to figure out how to put him in the chains. Okay, you get him out of the chains. Then you have to climb a tower and do the hand swipey, beat the hand down, right? But you do that once, and you climb a tower, and they go, oh well, now we have to hop to the other tower. So then you hop to the other tower, and you do the same thing. You hop to the third tower, and then like you think you're finally done, you're not. Now all of a sudden you're falling through the sky, and it's like rinse and repeat. Everything just felt a little too long. And there was a moment where I think I had to unlock some skills, or maybe it was like just a natural. Oh, I'll tell you what it was. It was my force ability. So when you like get your force gauge up and you kind of hit it.
Oh, the
and you start
unleashed
using,
ability,
like,
yes.
The unleashed abilities,
Yeah.
right?
Which we haven't talked about yet, yeah.
We have not. You have an unleashed ability, and as I was just going crazy with my lightsaber, the only thing that was going through my head was God of War Dual Blades. It is the same animation. And that's what I had to look up. I had to
Yeah.
look up when that other game came out and if it used the same engine. And it doesn't.
No.
God of War did come out previously. God of War 2 came out before this, and God of War 3 came out the same year as this. And you can tell it's very heavily influenced. And my only thing was like, well, this feels like God of War 2, but at the same time God of War 3 came out, which means it looks good, but not quite as good. And it feels good to play, but not quite as good. And this final boss fight is interesting, but not as interesting. So
Yeah.
everything to me, I think that's why I started to sour, because it felt so similar, and they just did everything a little bit less quality.
There's literally like a Cyclops battle in God of War. I can't remember which one, like 2 or 3, to where it's essentially the same exact kind of fight, to where it's like
I think it's 3.
big giant thing with a from the torso up. You're fighting this big giant monster kind of thing. It's pretty much the same thing. It's just not as compelling, not as great. There you go.
The cutscenes and stuff are great. It was this level where I was like, everything's just a little too repetitive, a little too long, and a little too just not as good. And
Yeah.
I was just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, but
It really was. I will say the last thing I'll say before we move on is I agree 100%. If it wasn't for me laughing my ass off at the QuickTime events, I would have probably been a lot more bummed as I was going through it. It really has made me. It was like, it's so weird because I have such fond memories of the first game.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, the entire time I'm playing through this, I just keep going, God, they fucked this up. Like, I'm just like, wow. Like,
Think about you if you were still on that super hype train mode. I finished the Force Unleashed 1. This is like, what, a year and a half, 2 years later.
if I was
And I get
you,
another one. I'm like, yeah, yo, well, fucking sign me up. Like, that shit was great last time. Like, let's do it fucking again. Like, with more cutscenes and more story. Hell yeah, I'm down for it. And it just kind of flubs it.
yeah, man, it's rough. It's rough for sure.
The very, very end, we are in the Rogue Shadow talking to Coda. We're kind of filling him in. He's filling us in. And we ask about Juno, the light side thirst trap, and he has no idea where she's at. No fucking clue. So this is where we're trying to figure out what we want to do, and Coda's like, you want to fucking find yourself? Go ahead. This is your ship anyways. Whatever. You can go to this place, or you can go to Dagobah if you want. And he's like, huh, Dagobah?
You're right there. He is very like whiny about the whole thing.
I will say
and
this:
I'm like,
great animated, great voice actor. Like, that character altogether is done very well.
the thing that I had an issue is I was like, at a certain point, do you realize that you're arguing with a clone? Like, it's not you're not arguing with your old homie. Like, I know you're like, oh well, fine. I mean, I guess if you want to make the worst decision, blah 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 blah. But it's like, bro, you're arguing with a clone that is like, literally, probably, in human years, like 15 days old. Like, who are you? You're arguing with a child right now. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that leads to the ending of the first part, which we start off and we end up going to Dagobah. And that's where I told everybody to kind of hold off. We will go from there, and then it'll be Dagobah. And then there's another section. We'll just call it the Salvation. That's what it's called. You'll find out what that is when we get there. But Dagobah is extremely short. Salvation is the entire rest of the second part. And that's what we have to play. The Wii version has a lot more gameplay on Dagobah. The actual version, the main version that they put out has very little to do on Dagobah, but has a lot of story and a lot of cutscene in there, which is very nice. So we'll get to that. And I'll just say we can kind of give up our whole thoughts. We kind of said what we felt about the whole game altogether so far. At the very end of this first part, I'm like, you know what? I started off on medium because I was kind of just wanting to get through it and kind of get the recording in for it. But I'm like, I need to turn this up to maximum hard difficulty. There's an unleashed difficulty you get, I guess, after finishing the game. But
Yeah.
The hard difficulty, I'm like, I have to turn this up. Like, I am not getting any enjoyment out of fighting these guys at all. Like we mentioned, like the repetitiveness. Like, it just seemed like, okay, we fight these guys, we fight a couple more of those guys, we fight those guys, plus now we got these other guys. We have that, plus there's more of those other guys. Now we're fighting 2 of these shielded guys, and it's like, all right, I see the ramp we're doing, and it's going to happen this entire level, and it's just, I am going through these guys way too easily for just basic medium, I feel. So I'm like, let's crank it up to hard. Let's see how part 2 does for me when hard. And then I went and unlocked all the costumes that you can through cheats. And I kind of want to see what it looks like, see what we got. There's some of them I didn't do, like you could play as Bail Organa. I'm like, I don't need the costume for Bail Organa. Like, I'm good. I'm good fan.
They did a lot of
Cool.
goofy ones too.
They do a lot of goofy ones. You can play as Boba Fett. There is some ones that you don't see in the actual game that are just there for like, hey, flavor. So there's 2 of them that the one was like, I think it was like Saber Breaker or Saber Blocker or something like that, which I thought was going to be those guys with the staff, but ends up being like this experimental Jedi armor that looks super like KOTOR. You know when you get the Mandalorians in KOTOR, how they super small slits that kind of look like the Imperial Guards? That's what that costume looks like. And then they have another one that was very KOTOR looking that's supposed to be like a prototype Jedi armor, which looks very much like the Jedi armor you get in KOTOR. So I think I'll be probably rolling with that through the rest of the game, just to have funsies with it. But yeah, there's a lot of interesting in there. What colors did you guys end up with towards the end of the first part for lightsabers?
Lightsabers, orange and blue, I believe.
Orange and blue? Okay.
Yeah.
Green and orange, I think.
Green and orange. Okay.
I say orange was like more essentially material or currency when you break stuff, and blue was like more tech power or something like that.
Yeah, I wasn't paying attention to like
Green
what
I
you
just
get with them.
found.
Yeah. Well, all of them, we just find. But yeah, it's like I got purple. I think I did purple and blue towards the end, as far as my dual lightsabers colors. But yeah, it's this is a fun game to a point. The cutscenes are fantastic, but I feel that it's gonna tone down how we feel about the Force Unleashed franchise as a whole.
Yeah.
Well,
Same way it did for other people.
I can separate the two,
Sure.
because especially
Sure.
and I think within the context of the history that you gave for it, it makes a lot of sense. It's the same way that I
It
feel
checks
about
out kind of deal. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely, as far as it, this is gonna sound more mean than I mean it, but I'm glad the game is only like 5-ish hours, like half hours long, because even with the small chunk that we played, I'm like, this is wearing out its welcome pretty quick.
Play
Like,
a 15, 20-hour game,
off,
Christian. Like, nah, fam, I'm good on this one.
yeah, like if I wasn't laughing my ass off during this whole part, I'd have been, like I said, I'd have been way more irritated. But
The
and like
cutscenes.
I am gonna switch. I'll switch to.
You should. You
the
really
same
should.
version.
You're gonna
That
miss
way
out
we
on
can
it.
all. Well, I miss out and I gain, right? Like, but what I would rather us all be on. I didn't realize that there was like different content or extra things.
I think even though we had
So-
multiplayer, like as far as
It
like
does.
a dueling
Yeah.
multiplayer, yeah,
Uh-huh.
which the other games do not, other versions do not.
That's fucking crazy. But yeah, so I'll make sure to switch. That way we're all playing the same game at least, because I don't want to be like, oh, well, I have this, and then like it
Sure.
affect certain things. That'll be weird. So yeah, I'll switch. But yeah, that was my main. It's like I agree with everything that the other people that we've been talking about, but it's just wore out. Like it's already sort of wearing out its welcome a little bit, which is a bummer
Yeah.
because it's like I really really like that first one, but so far, and there's like even certain story things. It just feels like so far it hasn't. A thing that I think a sequel needs to do is justify itself immediately. Like if you're having a sequel, especially a game that ends the way that you can end Force Unleashed 1, which is he dies, so it ends.
Yeah,
it's over.
dies
Like
both,
he dies either ways. And so, especially with a game like that has a pretty final ending, it's like, okay, you need to justify yourself immediately. Like, why are we here again? What is happening? I need to feel like it makes sense that we're back here visiting and doing whatever. And so far, I haven't felt that. It felt like, and based off your history that you gave us with it, makes sense why I feel like that. But it definitely, you can feel it. Like, it definitely is like, why am I here?
you'll get a couple cool sequences that you'll be like, man, that's cool, man, that's cool. And that's what kind of, pays for the ticket. Like that's what you pay for the ticket for, kind of deal. Pay for the ticket, take the ride, kind of thing. It's where that's what you're going for. You're wanting to go in there for the cut scenes and for these cool like quick time events and these big master set pieces, cinematic pieces. But it just over too quickly. It's gone through too quickly, and it's way too repetitive because this is just a cash grab. It's like, hey, slap that, put a 2 on it, maybe give like 1 or 2 different levels, and we're gonna make it just a little bit prettier because we have more time to iterate on top of what we had.
Yeah,
and that's kind of what happened. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have. I will say there's one extra little thing as far as like information, like a antidote. So if you have a save file from Force Unleashed 1, you unlock a skin, and the skin is what the Emperor is turning you into at the end of the dark side option.
Oh, cool.
So I don't know if you've ever seen this. It was the cover art for the like complete collected edition with all the DLC and everything.
Yeah, the Ultimate Sith edition. Or
yes.
whatever.
So if you don't know what that looks like, I'll put it down here. But if Alex, you want me to kind of explain it to you, think of the Bosch. I think it's called Bosch. Outfit that Princess Leia wears to save Han Solo and Return of the Jedi. Take out that visor part, slick it back to like a full-on rounded skull kind of deal, and you have fucking knives as fingers.
Oh, that's cool.
So it's very crazy. Dark, very Sith, very cool looking. I remember having that. I love that outfit. That outfit looks dope as hell. But yeah, that's part 1. We will start off on Dagobah part 2 next week. Go through Salvation and all of that Salvation, which is the biggest part of the game as far as the biggest level in the game. And yeah, we'll stop there and get ready for part 3 after that.
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited to keep going. I mean, I don't love it. We'll see if it gets better. I think the thing that disappoints me most beyond the gameplay that I mentioned is that I legitimately bought it on Steam for like $6 because it was on sale, and my cutscenes aren't working. Like, what the hell?
Yeah,
it's a legit copy.
Yeah, I noticed
like,
that.
If I knew stuff wasn't gonna work, I would have just cheated and bought it. Like, got it for free.
So there are some. I was
I'm
sitting
sure
playing
there's mods you can use.
No, there probably is. So
not worth it.
I was sitting there playing. I'm like, man, it doesn't look as good as I remember. Like, okay, obviously rose tinted glasses, thinking about back in the day. No, when I first started on PC, it gave me a custom settings and kind of put it down to like minimum specs to start off with. And then so when I saw that, I'm like, okay, let's do that. And let's load in Dagobah real quick and kind of like take a look at like right where your ship is at. Kind of see like a lot better. Just kicking that bad boy up to high because my computer can handle it. So it looks better.
Nice.
So, yep, that's it.
All right, everybody. Well, that's episode 1 of this book club where we're tackling Force Unleashed 2. Oh, Tedsters. We will dive into part 2 next week. But until then, Preston, I think you know what to do.
Hit it!
This has been The Testing Room. Music by @DamienCrow on Instagram. Logo and art by @RavePet. Interact with us on Instagram and Twitter @TestingRoomPod or email us at testingroompod@gmail.com. Rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, and all of your favorite podcasting apps, and make sure to share us with your friends. Thanks, and see you next time.